See you in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It will get eaten. I'm not going to throw it.
That is your boy, Joey Options. Is that good, Assassino? All right, there we go. And I'm Sharif. And yes, the chat is undefeated. Let's shout everybody out. Custom all-time highs. Customer all-time highs. Shout out to Gorev. Darwin, the trader. Shout out to N or YNG. We got Mark Orlando and Beef Strogie. Oh, Brown Lightning. Why not? Why not? Yo, why not? Yo, why not? All right, we got Lulu Hawk and Mateus GV. Shout out to Austin McVetti. I hope I didn't butcher that last one. Investing in the house as well. Ronaldo, Stuart D, Sean Hodge, CX Felix. Where are some new names? We got Grandpa Trades, the Productive Detective. Shout out to Shaggy 937 and Iggy Sosa. Cowboy Mike's 814, even Adara, Trader TV has joined us in the house. Hypercube Z61, a proper dang Paradox Joseph, Buffalo Soldier, Sun Go Birds, that's a whole lot in one name there. Mr. John Wick, Green Leans Company, and shout out to Adam Miller. Adam something IS Miller.
I thought you're going with the dang Duluth.
I was going to go that one. I didn't see that one. Shout out to ADL
yeah,
always.
I didn't see ADL. Yeah, Nimrod.
Where is he at?
Yeah, I don't know where he's at, man. He's probably listening, but UNH
Nimrod.
pretty good for you there, my friend. Yeah, message me on WhatsApp there. But yeah, guys, I don't know. Yeah, a little bit of a tougher session, that's for sure. I tried some ETH here. And then I just got out, and sure enough, we're just grinding higher. So this is a really strong name, right? This is obviously, I think we're going to go and touch those previous all-time highs. But I've been messing around with Tesla a little bit this morning as well. Same with Katina, man. But I tried the long once at VWAP here to see if we would get that continuation. It's just been weak. So now I'm back in it and then just kind of just adding in this consolidation zone, looking for that move back towards the volume-weighted average price. So that's the objective. The thing is, though, you can see the market's continuously climbing higher, and this name does not want to participate. So for me, it's just, it's weak, right? And I'm trying to milk a stone at this point, and it doesn't want to give anything. So we got to be patient on this one. I will add, but the primary target is the volume-weighted average price. So I'm looking for a move back there, but this consolidation is not looking too good, considering that we do have some key resistance zones. Market back towards the high of the day. The SPY put in a new high of the day currently, and then now the Qs are heading towards that area as well. And here we have Tesla still hovering around those lows. So if it's weak, just get out of here. And to be honest with you, I haven't been trading it too much, once maybe last week, but for me, this name just isn't overly in play. There isn't enough good news behind it. There's better things to trade, like the crypto space, Ethereum's going nuts, and some of the other names, and the overall market's relatively strong as well. And NVIDIA climbing back through the volume-weighted average price, and the Qs heading back towards the high of the day, as I mentioned earlier, but Tesla just sitting in no man's land right now, Sharif.
All right, we got one good trade, one bad trade. Sadly, the bad trade, isn't it always this way? Ends up putting you red, and the good trade not good enough to put you in Greensville. Let's start with the good before we start with the bad. TLS, I think we're 20 pennies in money. We are. We're in at the slow candle over here for a defend of the 10 EMA on the 5, and then up it goes. And here it is, taking out the high of the day, and there I am, taking it into 98s. There it goes into 5. We're talking about TLS. It's up 28.5%. Let's go ahead and set up at 01s for that $5 break. Currently $5 on the dot is the high of the day. That was the good trade. Let's tell you about the bad trade. Full disclosure, this one, TRIB. You know, I averaged into this one looking for this area hold of the 10 EMA. Looks like it will give it up. So a couple of more shekels below 96 and the trade is over. This one will put us red on the day to start, but we will not look at that red number. We will continue to fight out of it. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. I've got a lot going on today in small cap gapper world. So let's bring in the side charts and start talking about them here. So as the one I told you about, TLS and TRIB, those are the top left and bottom left on your screens. And then there's more. LTBR, 23.5%, trying to hold the 10 EMA on the 5. Might seem like this one's having some trouble with 17s. Every time we work up into 17-ish, we are met with some aggressive selling. Let's see if the 10 EMA support here can outdo the sellers who have been waiting basically all day at 17. A bit more expensive a name, LTBR, you know, as compared to some of these other $2, $3, $4, $5 stocks that I've been trading. Speaking of these $2, $3, $4, and $5 stocks, one here that fits a profile beautifully is Triple D. You've been hearing a lot about Quadruple U from your boy Mitch Hoke. Well, we're going to talk about Triple D today. We're going to talk about Triple D.
Oh, I thought you were going to say...
We're talking about Triple D.
I was going to say Diamond Dallas Page.
Well, you never know. It could be that. It could be a euphemism for something else. You don't know.
We don't know.
Don't make any assumptions, Joey.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
All right. 242, we go. That's the high of the day. Look, my man, I see support here at the 10 EMA by Triple D. Let's see if this one can continue to give us that support at said 10 EMA. And if it does, we will be participants in said trade. Going on, sorry, Joey, getting a little long-winded. Let's just give people the look here. Another one that seems to have a lot of support at the 10 EMA on the 5 is ULCC. Sorry, Assassino? Audio problem. Okay. All right, guys, I realize that we do have audio issues. Okay, we're good to go. Thank you, Assassino, for giving us a go. We will have, you know, that incremental audio in, audio out as the production team now has moved behind us. We are in the process of moving the entire studio, so there will be some glitches. We do really appreciate your patience, guys, as we try to perfect everything. It's a tough endeavor, all right? So ULCC Assassino looks fantastic. So does your other friend over here, G-Dot. Now, this is not a small cap gapper. In fact, I had G-Dot on my proprietary watch list there on the side. But as you can see, this one got all sorts of crazy after the bell yesterday, and that tells me it's an earnings winner. And it wasn't a fade the pop kind of situation. Nuh-uh-uh. This one kept going, taking out 12, taking out 13. It's above 13 right now, the 13.25 high a day. Be on the lookout here, GDOT. Sorry to keep going. Another one, ARCT, another bull flag setting up. This one does seem to have a little bit of selling here. I wonder if the money fills, as I've seen this many times, are between the 10 and the 20. Moving average on the 5. This one's got another 30% move behind it. And then before we just go to Adara, one moment here, USAR, another strong name, a bit more expensive, $19-ish. Putting another bull flag here with a high of day, Adara, of 1968.
I have a feeling you might like this story, Sharif. We have another update in the Sam Altman, Elon Musk back and forth on X, and it's very weirdly time delayed. So 12 hours ago, Sam Altman responded on X to Elon Musk's claim that Apple is behaving in a non-competitive way. He said that this isn't a fair comment for Elon to make because he's heard that X and Elon Musk actually does the same thing. So basically boosting companies or viewpoints that Elon agrees with and then pushing lower viewpoints that he doesn't agree with. Well, Elon Musk responded 5 hours ago, calling Sam Altman a liar and saying that he got 3 million views on his expletive post, far more than Elon has ever received on any of his. 5 minutes ago, Sam Altman fires back. He says, and he's directing this to Elon here, will you sign an affidavit that you've never directed changes to the X algorithm in a way that has hurt your competitors or helped your own companies? I will apologize if so. So things are heating up here in the Sam Altman, Elon Musk thing. I'm sure we'll discuss this later in the news segment, but I wanted to provide that update because this is getting pretty spicy. Back to you.
Well, Joe, it's not a good day unless Elon's doing something.
Yeah, well,
it's Elon or Donald. It's one of them.
You got to keep it entertaining.
Yeah.
Elonald.
Adara, get it.
Elonald.
No, I mean, like, for real, every day. It just ain't a day unless your boy Elon is starting to fight with somebody, your boy Donald's tariffing somebody else, asking Lip Boo to resign, you know, weaseling 15 points, 20 points he was trying to take out of NVIDIA.
That's pure extortion.
Wow.
Man. That's
your boy Donald's just next level stuff over there, bro. Next level stuff.
Elonald Trusk.
Oh, man. It's always both, says
Elonald
Matt.
Trusk.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Come on, Elonald Trusk, man. We need Elonald Trusk to get going here. We did add a little bit to this position, but yeah, Sharif, you got to keep it entertaining, I guess, at the end of the day.
I'm entertained.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
I'm quite
Are you
entertained.
not entertained? Yeah, so let's see what's going on here. You can see I added again. It's just how it be today. So we want to see that the volume step right in, market continuing to climb higher. So let's go Tesla. Give us those pops that we like to see. Pop, lock, and drop it. Don't drop it, actually. We don't want that. Pop, lock, and pop it. There we go. Double pop. But at the end of the day, we're looking for the volume weighted average price on this one. And I hope everyone's good in the chat. I didn't say hello to anybody. Just kind of been hyper focused and locked in onto some of these trades. Again, this is the second name I've only traded throughout the session. So I'm looking for the volume weighted average price. Going to be the primary target. I want to see if we can head into that area. And if so, we'll be able to eliminate. We'll probably go green at the end of it if we do hit target. But right now we are slightly red. Nothing substantial. That Ethereum trade worked out pretty good for us in the morning. I did get out prematurely, but it did also wipe out some of the losses. It's unfortunate that we didn't hold through there. Why did I get out a little bit early? Here, I'll just display it on the 1 minute here. Was this specific? Nope, that's not it. Was this candle right here? I'm like, all right, that's it. And you can see you got that pullback. It did give you multiple opportunities to get the test and then bounce, but this is a slow grind, right? So shout out to, can't figure that one out, slow grind. It's not, what's our guy, slow grind, who's saying slow grind?
Grind on me.
Is it, yeah, oh man.
Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky. So there you go, way to go on that one, Shree. But at the end of the day, another inverted hammer candle with some volume backing it as well too. So just keep an eye out on that one. Once again, guys, Q's climbing higher, SPY high of the day, NVIDIA is still hovering around the volume weighted average price. Tesla, get there for your boy.
All right. First of all, KC 526. Miss you right back. Thank you very much for the $5 supercharge. Thoughts on VFF? Say less, man. You don't have to ask me twice. I'm going to get to Skydance in a moment. PSK Paramount Skydance. I see your comment there, Benton. CYOG. You know what that is. CYOG. But we're gonna have to just get to KC's in 1 sec here. VFF. Let's load this bad boy up. All right, what do we got here, man? Village Farms International, $289 million market cap, qualifies for a small cap gapper with about 3.9 million shares of volume done on the day. I like it, KC. Is it above VWAP? The answer to that is yes. Is it above the pre-market high? The answer to that is yes as well. Yeah, a lot of yeses there, Joey. So here's the deal, Casey. It's losing the 10. It doesn't have much in the way of range, to be fair. It closed out at 231 yesterday with a 269 high, but that doesn't mean it's not tradable with big size at key levels, right? So if it finds support at the 20, for example, you punch in at 56s, you look for the high of the day break at 69, then you could do your analysis there with volume, given the price move and how many shares you take, and that'll be your profit. What I'll be looking for, Casey, is a hold at 250, 252. That's where the volume weighted average price is. If it loses the 20, that's my line in the sand. I also happen to like the fact that VWAP and the 50 penny psychological support level are not that far away from one another. So if you're going to give this one to 52s, you know, maybe you can give it to 49s, depending on how many shares you're taking and whether or not that fits into your risk management parameters. So VFF up 11.69%. It's got a good look. Does it have a headline from yesterday? Yes, it does. This is a yesterday headline, trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 EPS results. So it is an earnings day play too, and you can have a look. It was gapping up yesterday as well. So this is day 2, and we're not fading. So that speaks a little bit to it, okay? I'm not vouching for the company or anything like that, don't get me wrong. But that is something to keep an eye out on there. BMR. You mean BMNR, right? I'm assuming the person who sent the Swedish kroners, 20 Swedish kroners. Who is that, Joey? Can you read that over there? Because I have to maximize that.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, Volcan. I know somebody.
We'll go with Volcan.
Shout out to Volcan, man. Let's have a look at BMNR. Joey, I woke up this morning. I put on your favorite show there with Squawk Box.
Yeah.
And they got the ticker going on. BMNR. 500%. I'm like, here we go again. I'm like, I'm not going to hear the end of it. Start looking at my phone, see if there's any degen message from your boy Joey Options over here, who let me know Saturday morning that ETH was breaking out. I didn't even get to open up my eyes yet. I already got the degen message. I love it.
Man, I told you that's the first thing I look at, right? When I
love it,
open
dog.
my eyes, instantly what is the market doing, whether it be crypto or even
That's fair.
the 9 to 5 that we got going on. So yeah, for
Fair,
me,
man.
personally, yeah, it's just what I like because that's what we got to do, man. We like swinging back.
the energy,
yeah, we got to keep that rolling. And I told you guys, I love the way this is going to look for the foreseeable future, considering a lot of the names are going to be putting.
Do you want to have a look at BM&R since you're you're in that life now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all
You're in that
about
life.
that life. I
Your
took a little
boy
bit
Joey
more.
Options got a lot of ETH
I took
there.
a little bit. I took a little bit off
Lot of
here
money.
on Tesla. Didn't get quite to that volume weighted average price. I still have 80% of my position here, so that was only a 20% rip. We're gonna try to hold that for VWAP, but let's get to some BM&R. Ooh, there we go, Tesla.
baby.
Let's go. We'll take a little bit more off, and we'll get right into BM&R. Do pew pew pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
Oh no, why you gotta do me like that? Why you gotta do your boy
embarrassing.
like that, Sharif?
Oh,
There it is. All right, baby. Just how we want to see it.
Joey, we got to interrupt for a second. Neil just pointed out a very astute point there, Joey. The relative proportions of the chicken to the potatoes here is quite dissatisfying. You know what I mean?
That's all
I'm
right,
trying to get some protein in my diet, man.
I'm not even gonna say it because
Say it, Joey.
You don't have anything nice to say. You don't say it at all.
What is the show called? The Squat Bros? Maybe it is.
The Squat
I did
Bros.
squats this morning. What do you got to beat? You got beat?
I did bodyweight squats last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
My man.
I can't do my hack squats or anything because of my knee, right? I go for my
Fair.
my MRI on the 21st of
You only have to
August.
wait for that like 20 years in this country. It's
my
not a big
God,
deal, Joey.
It's so crazy.
Not a big deal.
No, it's absolutely insane how long you have to wait for that. Like I would essentially, if it was any worse, I'd probably have no right leg
So
at the
sorry
end of
to
the
hear
day.
that, bro.
But yeah, it's really bad. I don't know why they just don't buy some new stuff instead of spending money on ridiculous stuff. Buy some more MRI machines or something like that. I don't know. Get with it. But anyways. BM&R.
Get 'em,
we're not
Joe.
even on that. We're touching. We got so much going on right now.
Right?
Tesla's continuing. BM&R.
Get it,
Yeah,
BM&R.
I like this, right? Like we mentioned, Adair brought to us yesterday $4.6 billion in Ethereum now. That's going to generate a 3% yield, so it's obviously a profitable treasury. It's looking really, really good for the foreseeable future. Personally, I love it considering what Tom Lee now on the board is doing over there. It was essentially nothing, and then you can see when it started to really come into play here. Boom, 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 and then you're starting to climb back again. So that was a nice curl over for me. BM&R, not too bad, and especially if they continue to accumulate Ethereum, that's just going to be more of a yield. So it's kind of like the money markets right there, Shane.
I like it, man. All right, we're going to have to end this trade here sooner rather than later on TRIB. It's having trouble clearing the dollar. I've given it to 96 pennies, and I have my stop right here. It seems to be defending that area. That wasn't planned. That was just basically trying to give it a little room beyond this area of perceived area of now support was prior resistance. I'm talking about TRIB really having a hell of a time trying to break above the buck. I'm 8 pennies out of the money right now at 108. It's showing me $1, so this one's not good. But this one's a lot better. TLS continues to put in higher highs and higher lows. We just got the beak wet there at 505s. It's a 508 high. It's got good strength on its shoulders, and it's got a lot of support at the 10 EMA. I'm seeing just in the last like half an hour alone, 3 wick area defense off the 10 EMA and another move up. So we're going to keep eyes on that. I also see GIVO is going, guys. I know GIVO is one that I have an affinity for. Just going back to the pandemic, this one was trading. Yeah, man, this one, Joey, it was one of the ones that I kind of got my start with small cap gappers back in the day. If this thing will stop embarrassing me, I can try and show you guys that historical price action there during the pandemic. It's just got a goal to embarrass me there, Joey.
I like looking back, it sucked at the time, but it was also good times during the pandemic as well, too, because it helped bring a lot of things to Ontario. You could have more fun outside, do all these things that you weren't able
I'm going to have
do.
to agree with you for certain things. I definitely got a lot closer to family during the pandemic. I also got a lot more independent. You got figured out really how to just be on your own without really,
absolutely.
hate to say it this way, without needing people, which is kind of...
At the end of the only thing that I really didn't like is that you had to wait outside at the grocery store.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That was very in the beginning, though, to be
that
fair.
was.
Then you had to go in masked up and you know what.
You go masked up.
Get it, Adara.
No, it was not a vibe.
What?
Being injured during COVID, I messed up my hand like it was June 5th, 2020.
Hospital.
Of course I know the date.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I couldn't like do anything. And then people are looking at you like you have a disease when you leave the house because your hand's all wrapped up. And then with the being hard of hearing, I couldn't read lips with a mask.
That's brutal.
Yes, I will take a moment to rant about the pandemic.
Sorry.
That being said, as an introvert, I did also enjoy the tranquility.
There were silver linings.
I had a. It's funny. I was looking at this just a couple minutes ago, Sharif. During COVID, I had all my
camera roll.
I had all my so my family would come over, my brothers and everything.
Sure.
And I had the workout station, and we were videotaping my dad attempting a pull-up, which is absolutely comical because he thought he could do it.
Why are you putting him on blast
because
like that,
he deserves it, man. He deserves it. So if I find this video, it's absolutely comical of him trying to do a pull-up and he can't even do it. And it's just like, he's like, yeah, all right, $20, I could do 10. Couldn't even do one.
He couldn't do one?
Couldn't do one, man.
You get the money?
You took the money, man. Obviously, he didn't.
Well, he took it off me. I'm like, yeah, this guy is good.
I try to get that money. I don't know where I can't find it. Oh, here it is.
Let me. You got it? There we go. No, you got to show the people.
Yeah, look at embarrassing. Come on. Genetics.
Hey!
Do anything. What are you celebrating for?
Uncle Wilson, yes, sir.
He can't even get up.
Uncle Wilson.
Can't even get up.
Get him, Uncle Wilson.
Crazy.
Yo, we're going to have a chat with Uncle Wilson, bro. Yeah. Let him know what you're saying. No, we're playing.
Tesla is working out pretty good for us now.
Joey.
Essentially, I was down half my shutdown at one point. Now I'm just down a couple bucks. So that's, woo.
There you go.
That's how we
There you go. I told you I've seen this story before.
And I still have 35% of the position.
There you go. All right, Joey, let's just show them what Jivo was doing back in the day. This is the pandemic move, guys, but you'll recall, into that late 2020, early 21, that was the meme craze when AMC and, everything else, GME started really squeezing in. Jivo kind of took a bit of a hint from them, but Jivo was moving back in the day as well, back into 18. So this one is a former convict, right? And we jokingly say that about ones that run a lot. We're talking about these small cap gappers that seem to come out of nowhere, have big outsized days. This is one of those ones. So GEVO in play as well. Okay. So that's what we're getting today. We had a big day yesterday. We're still kind of lower highs today into 205. Yesterday we got into 220. So GEVO in play. TLS continuing to make higher highs. I've got 73s on. It's now knocking the door of 10. So TLS is a good one for the moment. We're going to see how high this one can get. I've wet the beak at 5s. It's not appropriate yet to wet the beak again. Oh boy, TRIB is working its way back above a buck, but it is still south of my entry there at 108. So we'll pack our patience, see if this one can work above that dollar area and try to make an attempt at that 118 high. It's up 22 1/3%. Not the biggest mover on the day, but I'm seeing Triple D over here. Okay, now I want to trade Triple D. And this one is coming into that 230 area. But there's a whole bunch of bunching between these moving averages and price levels that I'm interested in. So 231, currently the price, that's a 10 EMA. It's going to lose a 10 EMA unless it finds a bounce right here. A little bit below that is going to be the 20 at 2 1/4, and then below that by 5 pennies at 220 is the volume weighted average price. So I'm thinking, I'm going to look for the money fill here between the 10 and the 20. So I'm going to put a resting order around 28, maybe 29. Let's go ahead and wait. We're going to wait at 28, see if we can wet the beacon around there. And I'll be averaging into 220. So by getting that 28 gives me a little bit of a closer price into that VWAP area, so I don't need to DCA as aggressively if it does lose a bid. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on right now. What are you guys looking at? I saw you guys were tagging me earlier with some trade ideas for some small cap gappers, but I had to kind of keep my eye on some stuff. So tag me again. Let me know specifically those small cap gappers under $500 million market cap that's doing maybe above 15% on the day with at least over 1 million shares of volume, right? And that most specifically is above the pre-market high if it was trading in the pre-market and above the volume weighted average price. If you can get me a recipe like that, we're game, baby. We'll look right into it. Look at the airlines, but those aren't small cap gappers. Maybe Save is. Save, I saw a headline today. It may not even be alive going to next week, apparently, according to the CEO. Sharif, ATNF. That is another convict, former convict, that is. Let's have a look at ATNF. ATNF. Oops, excuse me. Let's have a look at that one. Okay, so this is having multiple outsized days. So this has been going for a hot minute. It looks like that hot minute started mid-July, July 17th to be exact. Since that time, look at the higher lows. That's all I can see. I see that the upper wicks, you typically revert, but what's most notable to me is that people, investors, who the hell ever is buying this at higher and higher prices on every successive up move. So that's the daily. Let's go to the 5. Okay, so we have a bit of a convoluted chart with the VWAP here acting more of a line of best fit rather than support or resistance. So right off the bat, I'm hesitant to want to base anything off VWAP. Let's look to see if there are any other key areas. Well, that $6 area has a lot of interactions, both very early on into pre-market as well as right at the bell. Look at that. Implied balance tries to take out 6, loses it, and then we finally clear it. $6 could be an interesting buy area for me. Looking even more further or more micro, excuse me, it looks as if, there is generally some support here at the 10 EMA. Again, I feel like I'm grasping at straws. So ATNF is one that I'm going to say right offhand, a harder chart to read. Just because it's breaching support and resistance, breaching the moving averages. And that doesn't mean, that it can't be traded, nor should it be any reflection on your charting abilities, because if it's hard to read, it's hard to read. So ATNF, I'm going to have to keep this one on the side here, Joey, because I don't feel like I have a good read on this one.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at CityBoy305. I was asking about Meta. We're going to take a look at some NVDA options chain as well, too. Still sitting in this 35% right there of this TSLL off of those lows. Looking for the continuation. Charlie Taft says he's looking short on the overall market. I like that considering we are slightly extended, and you can also see the stair step in volume starting to accelerate. So I'm looking for another big print, indecision, and then maybe we'll get that move back towards the lower end of the range, or it could be an all-day trender. You never know. But we're going to get involved either way, and then that's what we got going on with Tesla. Now let's pull up the chain. I was going to say chain gang again. I'll say it, chain gang. Bang. Even though I'm not part of that. Whatsoever.
Chain gang?
What was I about to do there, Sharif? There we go. NVDA. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you the ETH swing as well too, but we'll save that for another day because we want to get that big. Anyways, 125,000 at 185. That is continuously growing. I mentioned this leading into the earnings report. We are now probably only a couple weeks away. They report in late August, guys. To the individual who's asking me if it's time to start buying some of these contracts, well, that is up to you. The dip, it did look pretty good around 180, but just keep in mind we have this concentration through 180 and to 185 to 190. So you have over 227 current open 227,000 contracts between those two strike prices. So, I mean, that's quite a bit of size there, and I'm going to suspect it's going to continuously grow as we lead into those earnings report. If we close south of 185, look for those to continuously roll over into that report, and that can give us a good gauge on what can possibly happen when we do get that release, guys. So META is next, asking about some call walls there. I haven't even looked at Meta. Keep in mind on Google, and I mentioned the catch-up trade that we were going to experience in that name, so I'm happy to see that going on. But as for Meta, 790, we have 5,200 contracts right there. Nothing substantial. Where was our high of the day? Right. Wow. This is why you gotta use this stuff, right? What's this high right there? 790.42.
Damn, we're almost at 800.
Yeah. What is the highest level of open interest right here? 790. This is why this stuff is so magnificent and beautiful. Utilize it, utilize it, utilize it. Pay $1 for the options data. That's exactly what it costs. So it's just an in-depth look. It's not level 3 or anything, but it's similar to Bookmap because you can see the concentration of size through the strike prices, and that can lead that magnet effect, or it can repel as well too. But guys, we're going to Adara.
Get it, Adara.
I want to mention as well, we do have a report from Fox Business. Apparently, E.J. Antony, who is Trump's pick to take over at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, apparently he's suggesting suspending monthly jobs reports. So the jobs reports that Trump has an issue with, and he actually mentioned in the Truth Social post announcing Antony's appointment that he wants the job reports to get better. Well, apparently Antony's suggestion, according to Fox Business report, is suspending the monthly jobs report. So we'll have to wait and hear. This is just a report for now, but interesting stuff for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here is Do Kwon. I want to talk about this story today. It's a bit of an interesting story in the crypto space. This is Do Kwon, the co-founder of Terraform Labs. He did, I'm seeing news here come through today, apparently he did actually plead guilty to 2 charges in federal court with regards to fraud and money laundering over the collapse of Terra USD. So this is a pretty interesting look. Apparently, this plea could both streamline the case and actually could be impacting some ongoing investigations over in South Korea. Interesting story here. Let's talk. We have Circle earnings as well, but we're going to talk about those during our news rundown portion of the midday, so I don't want to get ahead of that. We'll discuss that later. Let's talk right now about Bitcoin. This is a beautiful daily chart, higher highs, higher lows. I did mention yesterday, it is a bit concerning now that we have 2 topping tail candles into that 122, 123,000 level, but by no means is this a serious cause for concern as of yet. Let's see if Bitcoin continue to push higher. And Ethereum, everyone's darling lately, is continuing to just really shine here. This is a beautiful uptrend. And unlike Bitcoin, we're actually pushing above local highs, above that 4,400 level. Solana USD, we'll take a look at this one as well for everyone here. Solana is making a slightly lower high here, below that I guess this is 209 level, but generally a pretty good look here. Make sure to like and subscribe for all of the content in the trading space that you need. Back to you.
No, we're still not there, right? Okay. All right, just double checking with Neil. 48 something, Neil said. Yeah, that makes sense. I remember those 21 highs. Yeah, well, everything was high at that time. So again, those were the COVID days, and the, I don't know what you call it. I call it the stimmy days.
Yeah, the stimmy. Yeah,
the stimmies were going out everywhere. This side of the border, south side of the border.
Were stimmy crazy, man. But I was fortunate enough to work through all of COVID.
Good for you, bro. I mean, not everybody had that opportunity,
exactly.
obviously.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I was fortunate enough to do so. And I'm very thankful for that. So we still got to have fun, but everything was locked down. I remember my friend, him and I owned the condo.
Yeah.
Like about 6 months in, he's just pacing around this condo, and he's like, Joe, I can't do this anymore.
Worried, bro. Was he worried, or
no? He's just like, he had nothing to do.
He hated
like,
being at home.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do anything. He's just pacing around our living room. I'm like, dude, you're driving me nuts pacing around here. And me, I think I'm more of an introverted individual. Like, I don't need the entertainment of other people. I'm fine just being on my own, like relaxing. But he's more social, and it really affected him. But
I feel that.
It's just like, all right, I'm at home. Let's run some Call of Duty, etc. And then that's it. So.
All right, Adair's got breaking news, Joey.
Google dropping pretty aggressively here. Why? Because the Wall Street Journal reported that, and yes, I did read this headline a couple times. This is correct. Perplexity reportedly making an unsolicited $34.5 billion bid to buy Google's Chrome. Again, I want to repeat this headline. Wall Street Journal reporting that Perplexity AI is making a $34.5 billion unsolicited bid to buy Chrome off of Google. No response yet from the company. Again, this is just a report, but fascinating stuff here. GOOGL dropping. Back to you.
So this is going to be really interesting. So I was talking to Joey off camera. This could be a risk management move here for Google. If their legal team tells them you in a trial against the Department of Justice are likely to lose the case and have to divest Chrome, well, wouldn't it be better if they offloaded that ahead of time before the sale was forced, and then you got a way lesser premium? So this could be really interesting move here. And like this, Adara, did you get any information on whether the bid was unsolicited? She mentioned unsolicited, so that makes absolute sense, right? If it's an unsolicited offer, then maybe Perplexity's lawyers or their legal team also have a view to what could happen at a later Department of Justice trial.
Yeah, it's funny because I was reading on some stuff, and kind of just to take it a step back regarding Apple. So there's a couple things that analysts were looking for Apple to do, and that was to get the Chrome deal done once again, the Gemini and Google deal once again, but then also to possibly acquire Perplexity. But I don't know if that's going to be necessarily the case, considering now that Perplexity is putting in an unsolicited bid for Google.
That's actually quite interesting. Yeah, it doesn't have to be accepted, but like just to digress a little bit, I don't know, man. I guess a lot of people are talking about Apple being behind on AI, and they couldn't be more accurate. It's just uncharacteristic for Apple to make large acquisitions. They make smaller ones. We'll have to wait and see.
But it is uncharacteristic of it. But are we in, like I mentioned to you when we were hanging out with Nimrod, are we in a peacetime scenario? Is this right? You got to get aggressive on this. And I think acquiring new talent, we've seen Mark Zuckerberg doing that, getting the Perplexity deal done, and then also teaming up with the Google Gemini to get that done as well too. So it's just like they have opportunities to do so. They're just not pulling the trigger just yet.
Yeah, just like I felt. This is more of a China story, and I was right. Basically, this far, it was about $500 billion worth of right. Because in 3 days we added $500 billion. In any event, though, so I feel like Apple doesn't really need to be the person who anyway, whatever. We'll leave this for the rundown or for the news. Anyway, TRIV is working its way back up now. I'm about 4 pennies out of the money. I'm really debating on whether to get this out, take the loss, or wait for this one to kind of work its way back. It is putting in higher lows, so I've been moving my stop up incrementally into prior bar low. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna pack my patience. Now, a newer trade that I've got on is this triple D. We got 28s on right now. We haven't taken anything out. It's holding 27. I'm still looking to pick some up into 20s because that's where the volume weighted average price is. If it ends up losing the bid there, then we'll have to take a loss on triple D. This one we did quite well on, though. Really happy with how it executed on TLS. We get into 525, which was one of my favorite numbers, seeing that I'm born on that day, and then we punch out right there. So 525 high, and that's where we got out. Interested to pick up some at 5. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for a much, much smaller order. Let's go ahead and wait at 505 for a move back into the 10 EMA. TLS has been really respectful of the 10 EMA on the 5. So if it ends up doing that, fantastic. We'll pick some up. Let's have a look at BMNR for everybody because everybody's talking about that one. BMNR. See what this one's doing. It's still, well above the volume weighted average price, which is at 60.50. It's trading around 63 and 2/3, Joey, but it still has some lower highs here from the pre-market. If you look at that area high at 450, then you look at that 8 a.m. spike, then the implied balance high at 930, then this area spike at 1110. Each one is successively lower than the other. So I'm not really sure if I want to be punching in, but yeah, you also have higher lows, to be fair. So you'd have to pick up this up off key levels. Not really my cup of tea, but very strong and very directional as of late. So be on the lookout for BMNR. It was a great trade, I guess, yesterday because I wasn't around. So I'll keep an eye out on that, Joey. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, guys. I was going to say, considering we're talking a little bit about crypto, so this is just what we got going on with the ETH trade here right now. So not too bad, not too bad. We're going to continue to hold this. I believe that we're going to break the all-time high in this name. So yeah, as soon as that Genius Act passed, I was just looking to get involved, built into the position, and then sure enough, it's working out half decently for us. But we just want to continuously build this, right? So it's not too bad, not too bad. And I think over the weekend, maybe we even get into that realm of testing that all-time high. That is quite a bit of a move. I think it's around $500 from where we're currently trading at. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to hold on to that. So God willing, we'll see what happens with that. The Qs are still moving higher. SPY still moving higher. Waiting for Tesla. I'm debating on adding at the lower end of this range here as well too, Shreve. Considering that we can't break 1266, I only have 33% of the total remaining position left, and I wouldn't mind maybe doubling that or even getting back into what my original position was. So that'd be around a 70% add, a little bit more. The math's totally off, but anyways. So yeah, I mean, for 35, we'll add a little bit more. So I'll be doubling it up, tripling it up the position. But again, patience, patience, patience. I'm surprised that Tesla hasn't been participating. We talked about the specific technical levels as well too, that it's broke through. Apple, as Shreve was mentioning, put in $500 billion in market cap since it's broke out. So it's been moving nicely. Tesla, we had that price compression pattern you can see here on the daily, and then we now snap that. And so I'm just going to continuously look for some breaks of the highs of the range, right? So TSL isn't the best way to show this. Let me pull up TSLA, the actual underlying, and you'll be able to see it a little bit more clearly. I can see clearly now. Boom. So there it is, right? So we snapped it to the downside right around 330, and then we continued to climb. So yeah, Tesla, if it gets going here, I think we'll be all right, considering the market is slightly toppy. But if it wants to play catch up, I'm totally cool with that one there, Shreve.
All right, guys. Kind of catching a bit of a bid here now on triple D, but this one I have to be concerned with. This one losing the 10 EMA and trading below the 10 EMA and using the 10 EMA as support. I've seen this story a lot lately. And so I don't want to be caught in that right now, thinking, oh, we're going to catch that, you know, nice bounce off that level. We're going to test highs into 242. So we've gotten a couple of beak wetters on this one, but I don't want to fall in love with the story because I've seen this a lot lately with the small cap gappers. They get into these levels and they do lose the bid. And then you end up dollar cost averaging all the way into your technical level, and then you end up stopping out. So let's be careful with this one. I'm going to keep my eye on it, looking for certainly a move back above the 10 EMA on the 5. We were momentarily there, but we're down below it again. So that's a look there. So Triple D and TRIB, the only two that I've got. And TRIB has a prohibitively large seller at 4, and it's been that way, I think, for about almost 15 minutes. A little bit, maybe a little bit less than 15 minutes, maybe 12 or 13 minutes, right back up into 104 we go. So I'll keep my eye on this one, looking for a squeeze back possibly into that high of the day. I don't know if we get it though. So keep tabs on that. What else is going on? You guys keep saying GIVO, but it's still below the pre-market high. So, and it's also below the aftermarket high yesterday. It's got to clear that 2 1/5, $2.20. It really ended up breaking into that 220 around 640 yesterday. So I don't want to trade that one until it breaks above the pre-market high or the aftermarket high from yesterday. Okay. Yannick says BTAI setting up to take out pre-market highs. The Jameson saying COHU. Let me just look quick at both of these bad boys. By the way, Pan Dub it got an upgrade today, so it's up 3 3/4, and we added quite aggressively into that area low. I just want to take a quick look. Pan Dub over here. I want to make the case as to why. So we get back into these key areas of support that we had basically all the way to last year. This 165, 170 area has been a support level for about a year, save and except this area over here, which is Liberation Day. So we did add into this one. Let's see if it can work its way back into that 200, and then I'm going to get the hell out of that for sure. So let's go back now and look COHU.
All right.
Go on the 5 minute. I just got to cover a couple. So let's see this one. This one, not really my cup of tea. Just way too light on volume. It's only done about 62,000 shares on the day. COHU, what is this? Okay. Yeah, this definitely not for me. Way too light on volume, Jameson. So we'll have to say no to that one. BTAI. How's this one doing on the day? This is a good one on the day. Okay, so it took out pre-market highs. And it is right on the door to take out that aftermarket high from yesterday from around 445. So that's a good one. Shout out to Yannick. BTAI could be a real breakout above that 7.5. What a recovery from 480 this morning, hitting lows after having a fantastic day yesterday. It was a buy all the way into 8 p.m. it feels like, and then it sells off super aggressive, and then the algo gets turned on. It looks like around 9:45, and it hasn't looked back since. So good call out by you, BTAI. It's worked its way onto the side chart, and we're going to take off somebody here, Joey. Can't figure out who though, so we're going to have to leave this one for a second and then get back to it. All right, TRIB into 105s. I'm now 3 pennies out of the money on this one. Let's go, TRIB and Triple D. Triple D taking out all sorts of levels over here. Shout out to Triple D. We'll take out some there. I'm not talking about Triple G. That's a different one. It's Gennady Golovkin.
Ooh, Gennady. Oh, I already told you your boy Oscar's coming out of retirement.
That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, our boy Nimrod just messaged me too as well. He's like, brother, UNH, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but we'll figure it out. I'll message you later. But just continue to hold. I think there's going to be a good rebound. I want to break this down, actually, because we were talking about this last week on Friday. I had something else up too, but we'll avoid that right now. So this is just essentially what we've been going over when we used to do our lessons of the day. You can see that we have continuous gap downs, right? And then you have this massive indecision print with volume. So I'm going to look at this as if it's stopping volume, all right? So even though you do continuously bleed a little bit lower, this is a good signal to say, hey, it's going to cool off eventually, and then sure enough, you get in around those lows. So congratulations to our boy who's in around 240, or 250, I think he bought the 250 strikes, and that's working out really, really well for him. But this is a beautiful, beautiful signal in my opinion, and I'm glad that you got involved in that. Obviously, the sentiment around the name isn't that good, but eventually things will, I'm saying it will, but you will get somewhat of a bounce because there's obviously some big time hands that are involved in this. But let's go Tesla, Sharif, that's starting to cook up a little bit for us here now as well, too. So we'll take some more off there, guys. Bang, we caught that, Phil. And to be honest with you, I had about 50% more size in this position than what I had right here, right? So just keep that in mind. I'm glad that it's working out, but I've had to take a substantially larger move because if I built into the size that I had here and took it here, if it went against me, I'm shut down. Right, and that's not the objective. I didn't want to get shut down. So even though I did have some conviction within the trade, it wasn't enough for me to risk a full day shutdown on Tesla, considering that I mentioned earlier that in my personal opinion, I don't think it's that strong of a name just yet. Things can change on a dime, right? Things can flip, the switch can flip, and then sure enough, everybody loves Tesla. They're funneling back into it, but right now, it's more or less a technical breakout, looking for the continuation in strength, which we didn't see for the first hour of the session. But then once things started to cool off, market's been rebounding, putting in new highs of days. Tesla started to play catch up here. And is it going to go toward the opening price? I don't think so. But if I'm wrong, I won't complain about it whatsoever, Sharif. I don't think a lot of individuals will. But as of right now, this is looking pretty good for us. And yeah, essentially just eliminate all of the losses from earlier.
Fantastic, man. I love hearing it, bro. I love hearing it. Keeping an eye here on TLS, as we did add into this one, into the move, into the 10 EMA. I did wet the beak there quickly at 8, looking for the next profit taker at 10s. Anything below 5 gets me out of the trade, so we'll keep a super tight stop on this one. Triple D as well, paying the bills. We take some up into 34s, now setting up at 35, 36, 37. Let's throw some into 38 as well. Let's see if we can scalp here on Triple D. I am still concerned about Triple D though, using the 10 EMA from the south side as resistance as opposed to using it as support, where it had been using it the entire day. So I am looking out for that. Doujin Kayo. I'm sorry I probably killed your name, and I do apologize. I'm not very good at this. $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend, for that cashola. You guys keep us in the loop, and it's much appreciated. Thanks for being part of my family routine as a new trader. Thank you very much for joining us every day. Thank you for the kind words, and stick with us. We're talking everything. We do trades in the first, hour and a half, 2 hours of the show, and then we really focus on the news, more from like a nuanced perspective. Each of us gives their opinion. Joey will look at it one way. Adara has a different way of looking at it. And I just read the news. I don't have an opinion. No, I'm kidding. I do have plenty of opinions. And, we'll give you a different side of it. We'll give you a fundamental side of it as well as a technical side. So stick with us. We've got a 3-hour show. We go from 11 to 2 every day in case you're newer. And we do appreciate you being with us, man.
Appreciate that.
All right, I want to point out one that I see could be on the move up here. ULCC, I said very little about this to start the show, up 18.13%. It's got a 395 high with a seller at that 95 that couldn't get shaken. It comes back into that 380 level. The buyers are gung-ho, and now it's about 10 pennies higher, 11 pennies higher into 91. So this one looks like it may want to test the high of the day again. Nothing for me to do right now on Triple D or TLS. I'm still holding some of that. And then TRIB, this is going to have to break above that 108 area for us to get positive. But if I see some aggressive selling into 7s or something, I'll flatten out and take a little bit of a loss there and just get at a dodge, so to speak. Sports and Stocks says Indy is running INDI. Let me have a look at that one. Bring that in. INDI. Okay, great look on this. Okay, so what do we have here? 16% in the green. It's a little bit south of $1 billion, $974 million market cap with about 3.1 million shares traded. A lot of respect for the 10 EMA on the 5. So that's how I'd be basing this trade. A 10 EMA trade. If it loses the 10 EMA, I'm looking for the money fills between the 10 and the 20. If it doesn't hold up there, I'm looking to VWAP at 4 1/3. So that's the one. INDI is the name I'm talking about right now. Good look for this one. But I don't even know who to take off. ARCT, we'll take off that one. We'll put INDI. It's a bit more of my style. This one is less bull-flagish, more breakout. INDI, thank you for that. I do appreciate that. That's not a bad one here. And then we have to add this to the watch list so it updates, Joey. Otherwise, for whatever reason, your boy's there at IB. They don't update the charts unless you enter it in the watch list there. So you're going to have to talk to those guys, let them know.
real.
I'm quite displeased. What do you got on your side?
For Realio. All right, yeah, let's take a look at CrowdStrike. Someone wanted to mention this here. I mean, I personally like this name, right? Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a weekly standpoint.
Got it.
I know Sharif likes Pandob. I like CrowdStrike as well, too. August 2024. Yeah, I think they're
very
pretty good, yeah. 150% there. And then you get a little bit of a lofty pullback here. 19%, but it's not too bad. But if you just go back into its history, I think it's a good scenario where you can just look, and this is when I talk about dividing your piece of the pie of what you're looking to allocate. You just don't buy the stock all at once. That's, in my opinion, I think that's a recipe for disaster. You just want to slowly, continuously grab it. But in the long run, I think you'll be okay in CrowdStrike considering, right? So yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now. It did go on a monster run from those April lows. 71%. So that's a good move. I used to write a lot of options on this name back in the day when it was like consolidating here. Here we had some fun with it as well too. So yeah, I mean, I like CrowdStrike for the foreseeable future. As for Tesla starting to pull back, I'm glad that we took some more out of there. Nothing substantial, 25% of the remaining position there. And then also Ethereum just hovering around that high. It put in a new high of the day, and it looks like it wants to continue that momentum to the top side. And we're most definitely not going to complain about that. But Adara, what do you got for us?
Got it.
Keep an eye on Biogen here, guys. BIIB. Apparently, the company just making a statement saying that they believe in the potential of a combination treatment for Alzheimer's and obesity. This comment alone, as far as I can tell, sending the stock sharply to the upside. So good luck for BIIB. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara, very much. Yeah, man, I'm Milo up at 4:30 again, man. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Love the boy, but it's mad. I didn't sign up for that, to be honest with you, but it is what it is.
It's tough, bro.
Tough, man. It's not easy, that's for sure. But yeah, Q's, guys. Charlie, I like what you're thinking over here for a potential short. It's just, I don't think it's going to work out just yet, right? Considering this is a consolidation, you're holding some key levels as well too. So just keep that in mind. Tesla pulling back aggressively. So if I get stopped out break even, I won't complain. Those are the remaining 25%. But yeah, at the end of the day, if we make that another leg up here, then I like it even more. And then we get some indecisions on the lower time frame, then I'll look and get involved for a potential short. But right now, it's just too strong and holding this specific zone too good, Sharif.
Is that the fuge?
Yeah, that's the
yelling flat.
Yeah, it's flat. It's yelling it right now. It's Janet yelling it that for sure. But at the end of the day, you got to wait for a little more signals. True. The stair step higher in the volume profile. Keep that in mind, right? This could be exhaustive volume, but it may just take some time for things to slowly turn around. Another thing to note is considering this is the second or third largest candle volume candle print on the session, and we haven't breached this, maybe there's some defense there. So we'll continue to monitor this. Breaks through that high, get out, and then maybe you'll have another indecision print on the lower time frames, which will allow you to get back in and then start to look for that mean reversion trade back towards the volume weighted average price, Sharif.
All right, Joey. All right. TLS, we add into that $5 area, add up 505s after exhausting the sharage that we had initially, scalping up a bunch over here, waiting for that 520, 19s, that's where I'm waiting next. We added at 05, so that's where our new position is. We initially were in at, I think, the $0.75 of a dollar, a little bit lower. So now you're seeing a seller here come in at 18. So let's see if this one's got the goods to continue higher. This one as well, TRIB just worked into 6s, finding sellers, now moving back down into 5s. Let's see if this one's got the goods to break back above 8. That's where I'm long. I'm long at 8s. I really haven't added to this one since being out of the money. Triple D. This one is holding 20. It's got higher lows now. Now it's got a love affair with the 20, while prior to that, it had a love affair with the 10 EMA. So we're in the money on this one, scalping up some, but definitely not looking for anything below 220 on this, $2.20. Now, another one that I want to bring to your attention, INDI. Thank you for the person who mentioned that one in the chat. This one's pulling into the 10 EMA on the 5, and that is my opportunity to enter. So we're going to punch in here. And what's prior area low? 440 is prior area low. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to look to front run that level by putting it at 42. So we'll wait for an order. Nope, that's not where I want it. At 43s. So we'll wait for 43s there. And then if it loses 40, I'm out. Simple as that. So we're going to go ahead and give it a couple of shekel room. and for that many shares, and then we're good to go. So we've got, what do we got on Indy there? We got 48, so we got 47. It's not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and wait at 49s for a beak wetter, and then we'll also wait at the high of the day, which is currently 52s. In fact, no, actually I'll front run that at 51s, and then we'll put something at 53s. Let's see if we can get something here on INDI. Looking for this one to hold the 10 EMA, Joey, and kind of head back up. Joey's praying to somebody. I don't know what's going on over there.
Oh, it's still going.
What happened?
It won't stop, brother. It won't stop.
Ooh, did he?
Yeah, the ether
my
here.
bad.
Yeah, Ethereum. Yeah, not Diddy. Sorry, not that guy.
Yeah, that's
but this thing just won't stop, man. It's continuously just grinding higher. And then now, sure enough, the volume really kicks in here, guys, as you punch through some of these key resistance zones. So all my ETHA holders, all my BMNR holders, all of my whatever you're holding in the crypto space, give yourself 2 thumbs up right now, because we're starting to rock and roll here, Sharif, and we're loving it. We love the Genius Act, man. We love what's going on. Thank you, Donald. We weren't friends earlier in the year, but now we're really good friends.
He'll be angry at him tomorrow.
I will. As soon as everything goes south, it's over. The friendship is over at that point. But no, in all seriousness, guys, fantastic stuff. And you know what I was thinking this, to be honest with you? You guys get love in the chat from everybody, you and Adara and everything, but I want to give my love to you and Adara as well too, for just bringing this type of news to us, because it gives us traders the ability to take advantage of things like this. And when you see something with such a massive fundamental change to the financial sector in the United States of America, the largest financial markets on the planet, you have to take advantage of it. And I don't know if I would have had it if it wasn't for you two. So I want to give my praise. Yeah, I want to give my praise to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Adara, let weasel in here for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Adara. I know how much you love to be put on the spot. Adara, you got to punch in to a cryptocurrency. Which one is it, and what price level are you getting in?
I don't know. I haven't looked at this.
Sorry, girl.
Bitcoin right now on the daily, I dislike just with that topping tail. I find short term, like the topping tail with the lower high, and the second one is a bad look, so I'm not interested in that. Ethereum is, I wouldn't chase it. You know what? If I had to scalp Ethereum today, I'd put a buy order at roughly 4,400.
Okay.
And then I'd risk to 4,350. So that's basically the top of the bull flag breakout and the low of that area.
So you're talking trade here. You're talking like just short term.
I'm talking intraday. That's what I know.
Intraday, yeah.
That's what I look there.
That's not what I mean.
From a long-term perspective,
I have not had enough time to look over this, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I have to throw that.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's that difficult.
No, to be fair, she didn't get an opportunity
to do so. Yeah. But we cover this all day, every day. You have to have somewhat of a favorite one. Do you have no fades? Are you biased?
Well, I've said this, I think off camera as well. I try to be not biased internally, because I don't want to be biased externally.
That's fair.
Because, you know, I mean, as much as I say, like, I love Eli Lilly, whatever, that is more for intraday trade purposes than anything else.
Right.
Right? So, I don't know. I really do try not to form internal biases so they don't leak out.
That's cool.
Internally.
Hey,
that's my honest answer.
Whatever works. Right. Sorry to put you on the spot, Adara, but we got to do that from time to time.
We just ask the question. Guys, if you had the opportunity to buy one cryptocurrency right now, what would it be? Put it in the chat. Would it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Dog with Hat, Dogecoin, and Shiba?
Give him the real one, Joey.
Trump.
Give him the real. No. Come on, you know which one it is.
Bitcoin?
Farcoin, man. If you don't have Farcoin in your portfolio, do you even know what crypto is? I mean, like, come on now.
If you don't have Dog with Hat, I don't know.
Dog with Hat sounds a lot better than Farcoin, I'll tell you that. I'm hearing Farcoin as a first-time investor. I'm looking down at the entire industry immediately.
I'd be like,
without more knowledge.
I would be like, is there a typo here on this or what? Like, why is this on?
Why are we like this?
Yeah.
Let me tell everybody else though what they can do there, Joe. So make sure to get into the chat, guys. Vote for your favorite ticker every day. The Chilean Nightmare set this up. It is the best looking chart out there. I don't see any better charts. So BMNR is the leader with 57 votes so far, with BTAI second best here with 38, and then Tesla, Joey Options, your friend Joey Options, all over TSLA. That one has only got 30 subs. Show that one some love and get into the chat right now, guys, and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But only the top 5 make it on, so make sure you're getting your friends to vote your way. All right, here we go. let's talk about the trades that we've got on. So TRIB, this one's working into 7s. We've got 8s. Let's see if this one can squeeze. First peak weather I'm waiting for there is at 9s. It just got into 8s. It still got higher lows, so I'm quite optimistic for this one. Let's see what it does. TLS coming back down a little bit. We've got 05s. Anything below 5 ends the trade. We were waiting at 19. It didn't print into 19. It got into 18s. That's as good as we could do. Now, Triple D. Come on, Triple D, you're disappointing me here, man. I got 27s. We scalped up all the way into 34s, but now it's coming back into 27s, generally holding that 20 exponential moving average. Now, I did have a dip trade over here to buy off the volume weighted average price. That is still a sound price, which is front running it by 1 penny. INDI, we haven't gotten anything on this one, but I still don't mind adding into 43s, but anything below 40s ends that trade. And that is it. So we have 4 positions on at the moment. Let's see if we can hold on to INDAI. I'm looking for this one to kind of pop back in above that $0.50. Just before we go over to Adara for happening now and Neil's lesson of the day, shout out to Little Raz. $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Little Raz. BTC slowly moving its way up to 120, 120,500, 121 for a nice look in short entry. Sharif with the beef. That's what they used to call me when I was a kid, Sharif Beef. So I'm totally okay with that name. But I want to point your attention out to something, Joey. A lot of people were making, you know, the observations that the bull flag we're getting on the coin is putting in lower highs. But you see what happened over here, Joey, when we were bull flagging as well?
Yeah.
See that area high? How about that one? A little bit lower, right? And then a little bit lower, and then all hell broke loose. So we're doing it again. We're putting in lower highs, and now we're working our way right back above that 120. So I was also of the opinion that this one was kind of setting up to break down, only to see that it was just one of the many variants of the bull flags that we can get.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be the case. And
we'll
think
see.
If we do get that September rate cut, that might add even some more.
Oh, God, yeah. Especially, I'd like to see Donald start threatening Jerome Powell a little bit more. This will rock it up after that.
See, yeah, just, with everything. Throw the kitchen sink at him at this point.
All right, we kept Adara waiting a little bit there. Adara, happening now, and then Neil's going to drop hotlines.
Hi guys, this is the Nasdaq and it is pushing higher, though right now this 15-minute candle maybe pausing a little bit with that high of 578.42. That being said, this bounce off the low is beautiful, and it looks like we haven't yet had a prior bar low break on the 15. Maybe briefly, I guess, over here, but generally pretty strong look for the SPY since we made, or sorry, for the Nasdaq since we made that bounce. The SPY looking very similar, but like the Qs, maybe running into some overhead resistance. Currently, when I say overhead, I mean compared to the previous 15-minute candle, generally a good look. Circle, not so good of a look. They did report Q2 earnings. We'll get more into that during our news-related rundown in the midday around 1 p.m., but CRCL certainly of interest here. Then we have Google, GOOGL. This one actually recovering really nicely, but dropping a bit here around 11:30. Why? Because Wall Street Journal reported that Perplexity AI has made an unsolicited $34.5 billion bid for Google's Chrome. So lots of stuff to keep an eye out here for. We'll send you over to Neil and his lesson of the day, but make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And check us out in the market recap for earnings from CoreWeave, Rigetti, and Kava.
Get it, Adara. Thank you so much there, Adara. Before we get to the lesson today, good news. Just got our full strip of postseason tickets for the Toronto Blue Jays. Hopefully they make a deep run. We're excited for them and got a couple of extra as well, just in case. I think you're excited, looking for an exciting postseason. It's just good to be back. Look, one of the things we talk about a lot is like risk to reward, or having a plan of action, making sure you execute it. But the thing about that is you want to be sure. There's nothing wrong with getting out when you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking another shot at something. And that's how you can control your hits. Now, obviously, the way I see it is if you're being disciplined with your trades that don't work, and you're doing a good job on the ones that do, if you shoot 50-50, I think as a day trader, then you should be green. Now, why didn't that? I know why that didn't happen for me today, but I want to demonstrate exactly why. Like a stock like NVDA, which didn't really work out, but I don't really mind the way that I was trading it. I preferred a long into a down market, so I'm buying first dip on a reversion, like that worked, and then it's not working, and then it's stopping out. Get it on the right side of the V, that fails to go. Get into it going into VWAP and add, that fails to go. Maybe too aggressive on the add there because the moment it went was actually after the fact. But it's frustrating, but that being said, don't really end up taking too big of a hit on it relative to what we should be making. Here's the other side of that coin. The slightest mistake. Now, when you have a trade idea, oftentimes the edge is razor thin. Like, why is momentum not good for me today? Mostly because I like BBAI long and managed to get into BBA long twice and somehow managed to not get the big move. This to me is the reason why the day doesn't go well, because quite simply, and this is how it should be, you only need one. And if I trade 5 or 6 things and one of them does this, I should be able to be red on all the others, and then this one should be able to carry it. That said, poor execution on BBAI, despite having it almost dead to rights each time, is going to be the reason for it. So, like, I know what we did here. We're taking a pure mean reversion, SSR down over 10%, break out the first resistance possible, go long and strong, like all that kind of good stuff. And that's fine. I misplaced a stop. You can live with that. You move on. But the second time through, this is where I don't mind getting in here. I don't mind stopping out under VWAP. But if this is your idea and you like the long because it's down this much and you're doing a big bounce, you got to take the third swing at it. Here's the thing. The market doesn't know, well, technically speaking, every execution is known where your broker, what broker you came through. So like the market kind of knows who traded it. But in a grand sense, the market doesn't care who you are or what you have done, right? So regardless of the fact that I misplaced a stop on the breakout trade and missed a bunch of the move, market doesn't know that. Market doesn't care. I just got out on the wrong side of the V, and now it's showing me the hold of VWAP on BBAI. Market doesn't care. It's going to do what it's going to do. So you got to take that next trade. And one of the things that sometimes you have to resist, and we all fall into this, as you're looking for opportunities, you get frustrated with a stock and you move to something else. Now, oftentimes, like I'll trade a bunch of different symbols, but you'll see in the morning show, like I'll be in, like I'm in 1, I'm in 2, I might end up trading 6, 7 names, but I'm trying to be in 1 or 2 at a time, and this is exactly the reason why. So that if I see something like this on what is supposed to be an A idea, like one of the top ideas for myself, that I'm able to get back into the trade. It is quite literally the entry at the same price. It gives you once, it gives it to you twice off of that 510, and then you get that 5% move into the highs. It's as simple as just taking the trades that set up. It's as simple as ignoring what happened before. I have a short memory. One of the things I loved about, and I'm not a Yankee fan, one of the things I loved about Mariano Rivera, who's a guy who was a closer for the Yankees, he could blow the game the night before, and then he'd come out the next day, never rattled. You never saw the guy get the yips. You never saw the guy lose the zone. You never saw him make a mistake and get rattled. He just always looked exactly the same, boring, and he'd step on the mound and he'd keep challenging right on the hands with that cutter every single time, regardless of what had happened before. So it's one thing to be disciplined. It's one thing to, be willing to have your outs, control your hits so that you can have a reasonably, you don't even have to have a 50-50 ratio to have your wins. That being said, you've got to be able to capitalize and maximize on the things that are working the best. And oftentimes that'll mean, hey, I might have messed up the first move on this really good trend trade, but here it comes again. I've got to take it again. Doesn't matter. Market doesn't care what you did before. You flubbed it up. It's still an upward trend. Right, like the fact that I got out here doesn't change the fact that it's an upward trend. The fact that I got out here doesn't change that it's an upward trend on BBAI. But a lot of people thought BBAI was in the dumps, and I liked it long today. And we should have done better, and you've got to understand how you can do better. And sometimes it's as simple as do not flip level 2s or flip charts away from it. keep watching to see if the opportunity comes right back in after you get out. You got to take your A+ setups, regardless of what happened before. I'm proof of that here on BBAI. That's why I'm leaving the chart up and letting you guys know. Your lesson of the day, stick with it. If it's working and doing what you're expecting, then you shouldn't go away from it just because of what execution nonsense you made before. The market doesn't care. It's going to do what it's going to do, and you got to do you. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you very much for that, Neil. Appreciate it. As always, Neil Roberts, drop in that Neilage during the midday. Make sure to catch that around noon every day. As soon as Adair is done, happening now, Neil comes on with his lesson of the day. Thank you very much, Neil. Let's keep an eye out here on some of the names that I've got. So finally, TRIB showing me a good side of the trade over here as we get the first peak wider into 8s, now setting up at 10s. This one is stair-stepping up, albeit very slowly and albeit very incrementally, but it is generally respecting the 10 EMA on the 5 with really no closing prints below that level. There were several breaches, but all on a wick basis. Let's see if this one is able to stair step up, maybe test that 118 high a day, or whether or not we're just going to sell quite aggressively. So keep your eye on that one. Also keeping my eye on TLS. Finished that one as that did break through 5, so we will kind of break even a little bit on that last little amount on TLS, but Triple D continues to kind of just hang out here at this 20 EMA. We've out of some of the positions, still holding a little bit though, so we'll keep tabs on that. And last but not least, INDI continues to hold up at that 40 penny level where we saw a lot of rejections early on and then some defending. So that 40 penny, I'm talking about 440 flips from resistance to support. Let's see if it continues to act as support and whether or not we've got the juice to get back above that 50 penny level. So that's what I'll be looking at there. Wes Wesial says ATNF is breaking out. Let's have a look at ATNF, see what that one is up to. ATNF. Yeah, a fantastic breakout there. Multi-day runner on ATNF. Great call out by Wes Wesial. I don't even know which one to remove. Geez, man. This one's really going here. So I'm going to take off USAR, even though I think that this one might have a nice playoff VWAP, but ATNF is all the rave. Thank you, Wes Wesial, for pointing this out. This is taking out all the levels now, whether you're looking at the aftermarket yesterday or the pre-market today, or even the implied balance high. All the levels, this one's taken out. It's getting extended away from the 10 EMA as well. It's into 7 1/3, and the 10 EMA is at 6 2/3. So this one's got a lot of juice, and the volume is starting to pick up here on ATNF. So this one's going to work its way on to the trading screen, since we've already got it on the side chart, ATNF. Let's load that bad boy up on the NQ. 1 penny spread from what I'm seeing so far into the day's high. Again we go. There's that 730, 49, 40. There's the breakout, and there's the new high of the day into 46s. Keep your eye out on this one. This one's really got a lot of support. I'd be looking for maybe a 7 retracement. I don't really want to chase it up here. Is there a catalyst? There is a catalyst coming in from earlier today about life sciences, you know, holding some ETH. So this is another ETH play. And this is what we've seen a lot lately, right, guys? You're a crypto company, you do AI, or it's really whatever is in vogue. So this is a life science company holding ETH on the balance sheet. And that's the trade. Just take the trade as it is. We're not investing into the company for the fundamentals. Just look at it like that. So it shouldn't, you know, dissuade you just because a life science company is moving into ETH. It really doesn't matter. It's a technical trade. We're in it for the short term, for the intraday trade, and then we'll see where it does after that. But ATNF, thank you very much, Wes Wesial, for pointing that out. Keep my eye on this one, Joey.
Yes, sir. All right, let's take a look at some of the top performing sectors here on the day. Communications up 1.7%. Financials sitting in that second place, up 1.19%. Tech sitting in that third place, up 1%. The bottom three, consumer staples, still holding on to green, guys, up about 0.25%. And then you have the utilities down 0.25%, and then real estate down about 0.5% there, guys. So that is the top performing sectors of the day. Excuse me. Also, what was I just about to look? I was going to pull something out. It just jogged my mind. So we'll get back to that momentarily whenever I think of it again. But here it is. Tesla's still hovering around the volume-weighted average price, looking like it wants to curl back around and then head maybe towards the low of the day. But I do like that we have this bounce and additional indecision print right here as well, too. So just keep that in mind. Not looking too bad. And as for the short in the overall market, it's not there yet. We did get that push.
Perhaps look at Circle. is all I'll say.
Oh. Okay.
Ooh, okay, so yeah, taking a little bit of a nosedive here. You get that flat bottom break here, Sharif. I don't know if I have that one. I thought I used to have it there. Bang, flat bottom break right there on that one, right at 167.44, and then continuing to move to the downside. One thing to note, look at the profile, the volume profile that is slightly starting to pick up and accelerate. So just keep that in mind as well too, guys, as we're heading towards the downside. Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily. I'm assuming, actually I shouldn't assume, I'm going to take a guess that the fact Adara is short circle. So that's why we're going to take a look at that. You're not, or you are?
That was not the point of why I brought it up, but I am also, yes.
Oh, right. Okay, all right. Anyways, so there it is, continuing to move lower. Adara's got the short on this one, not too bad of a look here. As some of the crypto names are pulling back in, Bitcoin still hovering around those highs, but then you have Ether coming off those highs as well too there, guys. So keep that in mind, 167.97. And as for earnings tonight, let's take a look at what we got, and then we'll go over some of the expected moves. If there's anything cool, CoreWeave, Sharif's CoreWeave is reporting tonight.
Oh boy.
Rigetti, Kava Group, and that's about it, really. Let's take a look at RGTI. I was thinking about getting involved. What did I just click here now? Oh, my days. Thanks for this ad. RGTI. Let's pull this up here on the daily and see what we got cooking on. Yeah, so for the quantum space, I mean, they're in play one day, they're not, but this is a nice steady grind higher, Sharif. Look at these higher lows throughout this trend, and you have this consistent hold of this trend line, so that's not too bad. And then you have this previous, is that the all-time high? I think so, yeah, so around $21, RGTI, not too bad. A name that we haven't looked at in a long time, and that's going to be my friend Rich Tech Robotics. I remember when it was in play back in December, you get these big-time moves. It does give a lot of that move back, over 50% to be exact, 62 to get that refined number. And then sure enough, $1.64 is that support level. If it cracks that, watch out for some potential downside. But Rich Tech Robotics, maybe we get a little bit of a forward look play on this one.
All right, man. You look, keeping an eye here on ATNF. Starter position here into at the the third of a dollar. Still looking at picking up at 7 and looking at picking someone into the 680s. So that's a breakout level there that I see. $6.80 with psychological support coming in at 7. I'm waiting at 707 for that area defend. We'll see if it comes down into that level. It's a 750 high for the moment. 750 on the dot. There's a seller at 26s, 27s. Here we go, taking out 30s right now. There's at 33, 35 now. It's really getting gung-ho, and it's taking out all my orders to the high side, so we don't even get enough on the dip, so that's kind of annoying there. So we'll see if it continues to go. Now I'm waiting at the high of the day in front of, ahead of that 7.5. I'm waiting at 51. So let's see what we got here over at ATNF. Good look. Shout out to West y'all for pointing this one out. Good breakout, but still a double top at 750. So be on the lookout for selling at 750. That's why I've layered my orders at these key areas of technical support, but it does double top at 750, and now it is coming right back down into the 7 low 40s, high 30s. Let's see if it makes another attempt here. Here we go, showing me now high 40s. We're still not close to that 750 area, though. Let's see if we can get back up. There's 49, there's 50. We're selling at 50 again. So that prohibitive seller just absolutely got decimated to the high side. Sorry, bro. So we'll take out some more there into the high. Now I'm going to set up at 61, and then we're going to set up at 69 for the next level. Let's see if we can get that parabolic effect into the 60s like we got through the 50s. Adara.
Hester Pierce, who is part of the SEC. She's also part of their crypto task force. She was just speaking on Bloomberg TV. Her comments just ended. But one thing she said is of note. She said, quote, "We're not waiting on legislation to work on crypto." So it sounds like the SEC is trying to do this crypto work even apparently before or without clear legislative guidelines. It's unclear the market's reacting to this, but this SEC working group for crypto has generally been viewed as not bad for crypto. Paul Atkins, as well, the current SEC chair, has been viewed as a lot better for crypto than prior SEC chair Gary Gensler. So seems kind of like a mixed comment, but worth noting either way. Hester Pierce of the SEC saying that they're not waiting on legislation to do this crypto work. Back to you.
That's crazy.
What?
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
This doesn't even make sense. What are you saying, Andre?
God.
There, do you need me to?
I said, oh my
that.
goodness. Joey, it's taken off. ATNF is taken off. We're waiting at 88s, guys. I think the high of the day, Joey, is 85s. There goes 88s. We are taking off on ATNF. Here we go. We're at Thank you, Adair. I didn't expect you to say yell that loud. Here we go. It's a 97 high, Joey. 97 high. Can we get any takers here in the low? And 98 high. There we go. We just popped up into 8 quick as you freaking like. That is the high of the day. And boom. Into that 805 high. Go, ATNF, go. This is breaking out quite aggressively. Be on the lookout. But for goodness sake, trade these carefully, please. They are around for a good time, not a long time. Joey, you're always going to say that. But I'm quite displeased, obviously, not having been able to add a little bit more. I had 2 DCAs that went unfilled. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. We won't get too excited about that, as it could have been a lot better if we had more size. Man, that's kind of always the thing that traders, you know, have to struggle with, Joey. You're always mad as a trader, we always say, right?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. All right, Beta Pro by Global X Canada has just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs, offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P and the TSX 60, semiconductors, and the U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special free rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize U.S. dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying U.S. equity indices. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca 3x daily to learn more. 6 new ETFs. That's crazy. That's a lot of new ETFs to drop there, Sharif. Make it make sense. Sharif, you got to read what this individual is saying in the chat. You just go through it. I don't know what's going on there. Joey? Make it make sense. If you go up and see some of the things that this guy
is saying. What's the name? The name, Joey.
It's Make It Make Sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like literally.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like, and that's what I'm trying to do here, but it's the math isn't mathing. That's for sure. It's just not. I don't know, man. Like, bro.
Are they having a conversation with themselves?
I have no idea, my friend.
What's going on over bro, it's too early over there for you to be.
I don't even know where this individual is. But thank you, Deshaun Willingham, for $5 super chat. Joe, that big. I'm not going to repeat the next watch. Laughing, kind of making fun of my watch here.
Oh. Why?
I don't know.
Is it too nice?
Yeah,
is the blue dial
I don't know.
not to your liking?
I don't know. But
anyways,
thank you for the super chat on that one. Just to say that, I hope you feel a little bit better.
Favorite high-end watch, Joey, on the spot.
Richard Mille, maybe.
Ooh, okay. AP. I'm gonna go AP.
AP.
Right. You know, obviously.
Yeah.
Now those are higher end.
Yeah, that's super.
I like how you say Breitling, whatever. I like the Bentley. And the Super Avenger.
What's a common one? I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's not coming to me.
Is it Breitling?
No. It's Daniel Craig did an ad with it.
Oh, Omega.
Omega, yes.
Omega, yeah. That's always James Bond. Yeah.
I like that.
That's how I knew what you meant.
Yeah,
right
I like the Omega. Those are nice watches as well too. I mean,
those are sick.
I'm not a Kevin O'Leary guy where you got the bubble watch on and
custom watches and stuff.
Exactly. I'm not going there. But we had another super chat as well that I wanted to go over. Hello everyone. I bought today 600 shares of BBAI at $4.82. Should I sell? Also, does anyone think it's time to invest long-term in the little position of SQQQ, like 10% of portfolio and another 10% in gold? You're going to get the nod in gold, but if you know what SQQQ is, then you don't invest in that vehicle, and I highly suggest that you don't. If you decide to, you will learn very quickly on why you do not. We went over this before. Not only is it a leverage product, it's the inverse of what the overall market is, so it's essentially meant to decay worthless. So if you want to put your money into something that is eventually going to be worth nothing, then by all means continue to do so. Kyle, we will read your super chat when we get back. What did he say, man?
Keep an eye here on OPEN. Open door flying here to high of day. Anthony Pompliano, who is the founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management, posted on X a couple of minutes ago that he's personally purchased shares in Open Door because he believes retail investors are a powerful force in the financial markets and they can help the company grow. So interesting look here for OPEN. Hedge fund manager Anthony Pompliano announcing a purchase here for OPEN shares, pushing higher. Back to you.
I was going to mention that, Adara, because everybody's lighting up in the chat. Open, open, open. And it is opening up, baby, to the high side. That's for sure. 8.25% to the high into that 250. It's taking out highs, guys. It's above that pre-market high at 248. It's getting the volume. Look at these volume bars that are currently manifesting are the highest of the day. They also breach easily the highest volume bars from yesterday, and that includes into the close when we have the implied balances. There it goes again into 257. Open door opening up here. Let's have a look and see whether we can see what this one looks like on the trading screen and whether we're going to get involved with this name. I mean, if it's going to squeeze, it's going to squeeze. I don't care who's buying it, Pompey this or Pompa that. It doesn't really make a difference to me. Let's see if we can pick up some here at 2.5. Excuse me, Katina man, for that two. Yeah, sorry, brother, because I was looking your way. I didn't want you to think I was, yelling at you or something. But that's the way we're looking at there. So I'm looking for that 2.5 drip. Let's see. Let's go ahead and wait. I'm going to wait at 51 to defend that $2.5 area. But it doesn't feel like it's going to give that to you. The buyers are stepping up aggressively at every turn. Look at the bid, guys. Look to see if more size is coming in on the bid to support any price drop. So, for example, look at this ARB gateway. It has 125 lots on it. Are we adding to that? Look at that. It popped up into 183, but does it stay that way? And compare it to how much size is coming in on the ask side. Now, it's going to be a quick, obviously, analysis. As that changes, there we go right back into 57s here. So I don't know if it's going to let me in. It's not up that much, 11%, but it's certainly got a lot of volume behind it. Guys, we've printed 105 million shares on open today. So there's quite a bit of volume, quite a bit of liquidity. So you likely will have a 1 penny spread and a clean fill. It's not a hard and fast rule. Doesn't mean there won't be slippage, but you can just try to put the odds on your side over here. So Joey, I want to tell them quickly about open, but we got to go back to Adara.
Yes, sir.
Another minute, another small cap running with social media attention. This one is ALTS Alt 5 Sigma. This one was actually on our watch list yesterday. Had a pretty big gap down yesterday after announcing a financing agreement with regards to its plans to adopt a World Liberty Financial Treasury strategy. So if you're thinking World Liberty Financial sounds a bit familiar, that's because it's actually the Trump group. Now Donald Trump Jr. 3 minutes ago posting on X that he's excited to see the future of Alt 5 Sigma unfold alongside World Liberty. Apparently he and his brother Eric Trump are fully invested in driving the vision forward. Big things ahead. There's a whole tweet thread. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you can check this out on Donald Trump Jr.'s X. That is his handle is Donald Trump Jr., so you can find him there. Regardless, ALTS, nice push here to the upside. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara.
By the way, Anthony Pompliano is a big-time BTC holder.
Nice.
Yeah, he owns a lot of that stuff, nice. And he's a continuous bull. I think forever bull. I think once you fall in that realm, you're just forever bullish Bitcoin.
I feel that.
So yeah, that's Anthony Pomp.
Get it, Pomp.
Yeah. He's always on CNBC as well too. He's always comes in and talks a little bit. I like talking to Joe. Hey Joe, Joey Robinson. Hey, likely is Tesla 347 by ROD? Is that end of the day today or tomorrow? I'm holding some options and don't want to hold overnight. 347 by the end of the day? Oh man, I don't know about that. You'd have to break through this high. Anything can happen, obviously. 347 though, I don't know if it's in the works. That's 10 points away. So that's going to be a little bit of a stretch. So I just don't know. And you can see that as we broke through this prior resistance zone, you just sell right back off. So I didn't take anything else off there, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll figure something else out. Ethereum starting to pull back in. Google still continuing to the top side. And this is what I'm talking about. Cloud beat, everything is going good over there. And then sure enough, you're only a percentage point or two away from those previous all-time highs, 1.5% to be exact. And this is the catch-up trade that I was talking about, and you can see it kind of reflected in the Qs. Google grinding higher, and the Qs are just absolutely putting in a new all-time high that we haven't really talked about too much today, but there it is, all-time high in the Qs right there. So I know, Sharif, I know you like to look
Sir.
at the NQ there. The E-mini. Let's see. Oh, okay, it's not even going to let me do.
September. There you go. Click September. Yeah.
So there it is. Yeah, so there it is, all-time high. 23,860 big ones right there.
That's a good number, man.
Yeah.
Always down for the NQ being up, but the Russ. Well, I mean, I never trade the Russ, obviously, because it's quite expensive, the IWM, or the futures contract for that matter. But I'm always in these small caps and kind of indicative. 2.16, far outperforming any other major average, and the NQ and the Dow are tied today 1%. So it's the ES that's actually lagging. Speaking of the ES, Big Spile Burdette with the super chat there in the chat, obviously. $4.99. Thanks, Big Spile, for the comment. Can I read this? Did you have a chance to vet this? It's okay.
I got a chance to read it. Yeah.
Just tuning in. I'm not going to read that part. Is Joey Smalls oh my God. I'm a Big Spile. Like, for goodness sake. All right, you guys can go read it if you want. I'm not going to read it but it's just like I'm dunking on my boy over here, and I don't want to do that. So, Big Spile, thank you for the super chat. Big Spile, when are we going to see you on this side of the border, bro? We saw your friend Nimrod the other day. He weaseled in. Your friend Nimit is also coming in from Singapore, is it Katina, man? Yeah. Singapore. I mean, that's not close, obviously. You're just down the street, Big Spile. You're in Penn. I mean, were these passports and the kids that were supposed to come and the trip you were supposed to do with the old lady, all this, that, and the other that I've been hearing about for years, Big Spile. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Big Spile, you better check in with me first.
Oh, you got to make sure Joey Options gives the go-ahead on that entry to Toronto. Oh, he sent me a picture. That means he's going to...
You need that hall pass, my friend.
Tell him, Joey. All right, we're doing it freaking live. Adara.
I'm sorry, but are you the mayor of Toronto now? Like, what? You need a hall pass to enter?
Oh, why do you have to come dunk on us and shut the door, Adara, like that?
I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm all alone. I got to keep things entertaining.
That's fair. That's fair. We can go with that, Adara. Hey, man, you got to be able to chirp in every now and again as well. So I'm totally for that.
People don't forget, man.
People don't forget. Your boy Joey Options over here is getting upset, Adara. Yeah. But yeah, I saw on the weekend. I saw Superman on the weekend in that exact part where they're playing soccer and he kicks the ball. He's like, go pee your pants. Or he's like,
that was
like 20 years ago. People don't forget. It's so funny.
Trust me,
man, that movie could not be shot in this day and age. Do you know how many times they had to bleep out words? And this was at 10 at night. And the reason they had to bleep out words, because you can't say some of those words, period, anymore. I mean, I don't care. I'm not going to be restricting anybody's speech. But clearly the people at Much Music felt very differently than me.
Remember that one channel, Showcase?
Oh, Showcase Review?
Yeah.
Okay. Joey Options. Yeah. That's the way it kind of is.
That was a long time ago.
Bro,
I think they had to take that off.
They could not make that movie now.
No, there's no way.
That couldn't be made.
It's probably one of the greatest movies of all time.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Exactly.
Open Door, thank you very much for bringing this one, Adara. This one is on a rampage to the high side. We literally have bottom wick on that 250 test, and there goes open again. Into the high of the day, 61. I'm waiting at 63s, and then you know where I'm waiting after that. Let's see if this one's got the juice to let this one go loose. We're at 61s right now, but there's a prohibitively large seller at 61 to 60. Kind of a weird area to have a lot of selling, but we're going to continue to watch the chop and churn and to see if we can come out ahead on this one. Taking a few beak wetters so far, but definitely looking for more. It's not up that much, guys. We're talking about 12 in the third. Pompliano coming in there midday saying he's buying up some of this, and the market likes that to the high side. So we'll keep an eye out on this one and see if we can get something a little bit more on OPE.
OPEN.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, so we're just still chilling in this trade here. I do like that the market is slightly topping out now, I believe. Are we going to get that deep pullback? I'm not too sure just yet, but you can see another volume print here as well, significantly larger than what we're experiencing here. And then if we get a 5-minute close as an indecision, considering how extended from the volume weighted average price we are, there is a lot of resistance, and you want to focus on the tape as well too. If it's just continuously strong, then you don't want to just hang around in that short until otherwise. You want to see it flip. And if I pull it up now, you'll just see a lot of in-betweens and then a lot of at the ask and above it. So that's why we're just continuously holding up. And then also you have the size on the imbalance in the L2 as well too. So just keep that in mind. Look how much larger some of these prints are, right? So this it is, boom. Okay, so we get a little bit of a flush, but then it's just met again by some additional green flushes. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. UNA, shout out to Nimrod, our guy over there. He's like, I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
How's he doing on that option?
He's good, great, fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
good,
yeah, he's doing really good.
He was pumped about that.
Yeah, he was really excited about that. I remember you bought it around 250, and then sure enough, you get a nice pop. I think from a daily standpoint, there's a lot more room for this to run. Fill this gap, that would be more ideal. So that gets you around 280s even roughly. But yeah, you got to diamond hands that and hold through that specific level. The NQ still continuing to grind. That's the 5 minute on there. Is there any specific names that you guys want to go over? So there it is, another leg higher from the Nasdaq here. Bang. Continuous grind, and that's why it's hard to short sometimes, especially if Tesla decides that it wants to play catch up. Some of these other bigger names, I haven't even looked at Apple today, nor have we talked about it really. Again, just a continuous grind, but you're getting this ascending wedge. You do have a resistance top over here, but these consistent higher lows throughout this intraday price action. If volume steps in and you break through, just watch out. But then we'll also take a look at it from a daily perspective as well. Boom, this is the breakout level, 214, and now we're trading at 213. So that's a big time move in AAPL. Considering it's only been about a week or so of trading sessions, you're up 8% on that one. So not too bad of a look. And I'm talking about Apple and Google playing catch up. We're still down 12% off of those previous all-time highs. So there it is. Catch-up trade in these names is going to add more fuel to the Nasdaq fire, in my opinion. So watch out for Apple and watch out for Google. And who knows? What do you think would happen to Google if Perplexity actually bought Chrome? Do you think it would sell or do you think it would rip? I'm asking you.
You know what, bro? I'm caught between two minds. I was actually giving this some thought before you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Think about the user data that Google gets from Google Chrome and how much they would be giving up in terms of targeted ads using that.
I don't think it'd be worth it.
Well, again, that you and I, though, were talking about this before. What if there's a forced divestiture and they're just trying to front run the move rather than be forced to sell it at a loss, not a loss, but not get as much money for it, rather than being forced to sell it at a premium, especially if you have an unsolicited buyer. When you have an unsolicited buyer, by default, you're in the driver's seat. Someone wants to buy something that you got. You're not putting it on for sale.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you're going to try to get the best deal that you can possibly get out of it. And we talked about this earlier as well, too. Google just having the most data out of all of the Meg 7 names leading into this AI race. So yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't be too bad, but I think what I was hearing is that Apple and Gemini might strike a deal as well too. Bro,
we've heard this with chat. We've heard this with Perplexity. Gemini, Apple's like, she's sleeping around everywhere, bro. What's going on over here, bro? No, get it, Apple. Like, I don't really care who ends up Apple makes a deal with. Just get Siri right, for goodness sake. Gotta tell you though, Siri's been improving a little bit in terms of accuracy, but looking to expand on things that Siri can do, no. No,
it's not there yet.
It's not at all.
And I mentioned this yesterday as well too, where you weren't here when you weren't here, Sharif. Yeah. Dan Ives says there's essentially a 0% chance that they're going to get this, which is insane. He said he has a better chance of starting in the NFL than Apple getting it right internally. So what does that lead you to? You got to start. Maybe take the meta route. Start bringing in some new talent, start paying some of these big bucks, but it doesn't seem like they want to be mentioned.
I don't go down that thinking. Again, I think Apple doesn't really need to be that amazing LLM provider, just the kind of purveyor of the AI. Doesn't need to be the one developing it in the same way that they weren't the ones who developed WhatsApp.
They can. A 16?
Katina, man, you should have waited. 17 is coming out next, like a couple of weeks. Yeah, that's fair. Well, they're going to give good deals now, especially with so. I'm going to get. So this is really old. I picked this up in April of 2022. But this phone, this is the 13 Pro Max. This came out in September of 21. So I'm going to pick up the 17. I'm going to pick it up right when it comes out. right away. Jail right away. Because it's been a hot minute since I've got an iPhone anyway. And I definitely want to see.
Did you mess around with your home screen? So like.
I did, but so yours is a 16.
Yeah.
So you have the advanced chip. So I don't. So you have more Apple Intelligence than I do, right? I'll have limited. But on my iPad, I have the full
Apple.
Apple.
Does that though when you hit.
Exactly, I don't get that.
You don't get
so
that?
no, see, it'll do the circle.
Oh man,
that's what I was trying to tell you. So it's a little different still, yeah.
That sucks. Oh, Ether 4400.
You're killing me, bro. You're killing me. I can't anymore. I can't anymore,
you
bro.
have to, man. You got no choice, brother. You got no choice.
All right, keeping an eye here, guys, on ATNF as this one is bouncing off that exact same area that we got in, and it's finding support. So it's a 10 EMA pullback after making a high of 824, pulls back right into 7.25. So $1 from top to bottom, and it finds support to the penny. And by the penny, I'm talking about that 10 exponential moving average, always on the 5-minute chart when I mention it. I'll never talk about it on anything else, and if I do, I'll make it very specific that I'm talking about it on a different time frame. Anyway, finding support there and looking to rocket back up. I like this. If it makes a 5-minute candle, will make a new high on a closing basis. The way to do that is to print and close above 7 2/3. Let's see if it gets into that 7 2/3. We're still holding some here on OPEN. We got 51s on. The best print we have is 62s. I'm still waiting for that 64 print, and then we're waiting a little bit higher. So a couple of more beak wetters on this one. But let me tell you about the trade that is not going that well and that I've moved up my stop on, INDI. I perceive this one to be finding support at 440, and now it looks like it's going to flat bottom break through 440. Why do I feel like it's going to flat bottom break? Let me make my case. Area high, lower high, lower high. All the while, it's a 440 low hold, 440 low hold, and now we're back into 440 again. Looks like we're going to lose it. But look at open door, absolutely fly to the high side. It takes out my level. We're still waiting there, though. At 66s, I'm going to cancel that order because that's the last beak wetter. Let's let this one ride, baby. We're going to wait at 70. Let's just go 71. What the hell? Sorry, OPEN, not BBA. Sorry, Katina Man. BBAI is going, says a Katina Man. Let's have a look at a Big Bear AI as it's rocketing up to the high side as well. I saw the boys look at that trade in the morning, bouncing off the lows, and it's still going into 569. This is over $1 now off those area low, almost $1. It's a 475 low, a 569 high. Great recovery there from the Baird one as this one stair steps all day into new area highs. You didn't really need to risk much here, it looks like, especially if you got in on the 10 EMA. You didn't have to risk much at all because this one was stair stepping basically up all day. Let's see if it's got the juice to let more loose to the upside. We're going to take a break here super quick, Joey Options, and send you to Adara.
Yeah, I want to let you guys know we do have Caroline Levitt, White House press secretary. She's set to hold a press conference around 1 p.m. I wanted to let you guys know while I have you. But here's the news. Uber. Big drop here, though, recovered pretty nicely. Business Insider reporting that Tesla is offering up to $33.66 an hour as base pay for robotaxi test drivers in NYC. This is according to job listings. So Tesla offering a pretty hefty base pay salary for NYC robotaxi test drivers, according to some job listings. UBER not seeming to like this catalyst. I'm going to look into these listings myself. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. All right, continuing to watch open over here as it zigs and zags, but which probably behooves us to throw BBAI onto the trading screen because if we're going to pick this up off the 10, we got to see what it looks like on the level 2. So Big Bear AI trades on the New York, guys. Don't forget it's not a Nasdaq stock. And it's up. Well, it's not up. It's down 20 1/3%, but we already know why. It was an earnings miss. But, you know, lofty expectations. And I got to tell you, I was reading through the earnings report, Katina Man. It seemed like the company was awfully bearish for no reason of being bearish. So it might be one of those situations where they might want to buy their own stock, dude. Because Katina Man, like, he was making...
cash they have is from the offering.
The only cash they have is from the offering, says Katina Man. But I don't know, brother. He was making pronouncements with respect to earnings, and he was blaming tariffs, and he was blaming Donald, and I didn't really understand too much. And then he also said that the government efficiency, like Doge, and the concerted effort within the federal government to rein in costs could hurt them. I don't know, man. It seems to me like an AI company benefits from cost cutting as it stands to kind of replace people's jobs. Am I misunderstanding that somehow? So yeah, let me know what you guys think there. We're going to go through the report on the news, which starts momentarily, maybe 10 minutes or so. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel it was that bad of a report anyway. That's just my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah. I'm gonna hop in some TQ short up here.
All right.
I gotta start really small on this one, but I do like the topping price action that we're experiencing. Tesla's still hovering, so I gotta be cautious and wary of what's going on with that, just in case that it wants to move higher and higher. But I do like the risk profile on TQs. So I can just start really, really small and only have to risk a couple of cents, right? So that's the kind of the objective of what we got going on. You can see the market slightly toppy here. So now we're involved in the short. We're still long TSLL. If that breaks out, then we might be in a little bit of trouble, but that's okay. Somewhat of a hedge here. So there it is, a nice indecision print. And we already had this exhaustive volume about 15 minutes earlier. So just keep that in mind. Beautiful print right here, but the volume isn't supporting. And this is what I'm talking about. Look at the volume on the pullbacks here, guys, all right? So climbing higher, even when you get to this red candle, smaller volume, lower volume, okay, yeah, you step up, strong candle, no volume. Again, you get these small prints. That just tells me there's not very many sellers engaged right now. So if it continues to grind higher, you have to get out, considering what the volume profile is telling us, Adara.
I just wanted to let you guys know I looked more into that Uber Tesla story in case you guys missed it. Uber did make a pretty sharp drop and then recovered after Business Insider reported that Tesla's offering up to $33.66 per hour as base pay for robotaxi drivers in NYC. I looked into this, as I mentioned, and there are a lot more details I want to provide. First, this was actually initially reported, as I can see, as early as this morning at 8 a.m. by CNBC. Noted reporter Laura Kolodny, who Elon Musk does not like, actually reported this. It is worth noting, Tesla is apparently recruiting these test drivers in New York, but they actually have not received, or they haven't even applied for any permits that they need for test driving vehicles in New York. Now, Waymo apparently has, at the very least, applied for these AVs in New York, at least for testing. Tesla has not even applied for AV testing permits in New York, but they're already trying to hire for these positions. So just a bit more context. This Uber story, or I guess the story here in Tesla was not new, but Uber did react to it. So to provide some more context, it's an older story. As well, I looked at the posting that CNBC linked. The base pay there is not $33.66 an hour, so it's unclear if the Business Insider is citing a different job posting or if there's another posting I haven't seen yet. Back to you.
All right, Adara, I want to bring you in for this because we're going to talk about something super quick before we start on the news. So you reported that Google was possibly the target of an acquisition for about $34.5 billion by Perplexity. It's a lot of money, Adara, $34.5 billion. So I did a little searching. Did you know that Perplexity raised $100 million in July, Adara? So we're talking a couple of weeks ago. They raised $100 million at a valuation of $18 billion. They're looking at buying a company almost twice their value.
I thought that was odd. So
then we had to start looking, Adara, like who's funding this company that they could weasel such big money, almost double their valuation. Some names in here you may know. There's this guy named Jeff something or Bezos. There he is. Tobias Lutke. I'm sorry, he's Shopify. I should be able to say his name a little bit better since he's Canadian. Nat Friedman, former GitHub CEO as well. NVIDIA's involved in this, Adara. Databricks, SoftBank. Now we know where the money's coming from. Any comments on that?
No, I mean, it makes sense they have deep pockets. I was aware that they had some pretty big fundraisers. It doesn't shock me that much. What shocks me is them having that valuation, regardless of who's funding them, and making that bid. And then it also makes you wonder about the, I guess, motives of the people that are backing them. Because, I mean, you think 100%. Bezos? I mean, Shopify, whatever, that's kind of random. Bezos, you think Bezos isn't thinking about how he can get his little fingers on Chrome and like buy a 10th million yacht? Like, I'm sure that's going through his mind. I think it makes the motives a bit suspect actually hearing the names, but I was aware they had some pretty deep backers.
I hope he changes the name of his yacht, one of them, to Chrome after he finishes the acquisition. That'd be a nice little rub in Google's face. Thank you. We'll be on in, again, Adara will try to join us for the news today, but she will have to cover the Caroline Levitt news conference, so she'll be doing her best to weasel in at different parts. We thank her for that. All right, Joey, what do you got?
I'm out of that TQs trade. That was extremely short-lived, that's for sure, as buyers stepped right in, and that's what I'm talking about. You just have to be willing to get out. If it does decide to turn around, maybe this is going to be the last push, or we're just going to continue to trend throughout the whole day. So, I mean, we're up about 1.1% on the actual NAS. This is the TQ, so that's going to be double it, so, or 1.5, I guess I should say 1.6. But yeah, at the end of the day, just get out when you're supposed to get out. So, yeah, that's what we did, and here you can see that the market is continuously climbing higher. I'm just thinking of how extended from the volume-weighted average price we are, and are we going to eventually curl over? It just may take a little bit more time. I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to be waiting for that trade to possibly set up. But either it does or it doesn't. I'm not going to try it too many times. And at some point, you have to come to terms with the fact, like, hey, the market is going to be trending today, and you're not going to get that specific setup that you're looking at. But right now, what is working for us is Tesla. I have 23% remaining right there. Even though I did take a small little loss, it wasn't substantial whatsoever, considering what we were down earlier in the day. And we'll remove a little bit more of our inventory right here, as my guy Obi would like to say.
Okay.
And let's see if we can catch this fill up here. I think if the bid, as soon as the bid hits it, then we'll be okay. But at the end of the day, we won't complain. And I mentioned earlier that I was about 50% larger in this position than I was right here. So just keep that in mind. Even though we did add aggressively just in that lower accumulation phase, and then now we're just slowly starting to distribute higher. So yeah, that's my game plan, waiting for this market to potentially top out. It may or may not. You got to keep an eye on the Meg 7. Charlie, when we're shorting these names, right, you got to have everything, all those big names in front of you. We mentioned this yesterday, we mention it all the time. It carries so much weight in the S&P and in the Nasdaq. I heard Sean mention this as well. So for every dollar that you invest, 40 cents of it is going into the Meg 7 essentially. So that's what it is 40% of the weight, the market capitalization weight, is within a certain concentration of names. And you have to pay attention, especially when you're trading this overall market. What are those big boys doing? Are they trending? Are they moving lower? What are they up to? And if you're going to play the Nasdaq, you must focus on what it is. And if they're going to grind higher, don't think that the Nasdaq is going to continue to curl over when you have the likes of Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Meta, Amazon, all trading higher. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the vehicle.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, it's just not mathematically possible, right?
It's impossible.
Yeah. So well said, Joey. All right. Let's get to the news, baby, because Jerry. Let's because it's quite a long one today. So Ram, we're doing circle. All right. Just 1 second, otherwise Ram will get very upset if we don't have these talking points over here. So we're gonna have to make sure she's very happy. Because again, don't worry about it, Ram. I got you, girl. All right, Assassino, don't show. There we go. All right, let's talk about a Circle. They had their earnings report. Adara's short. We know that. Everything's good. Everything makes sense in this world. But it was an aggressive sell-off there, Joey. I mean, you can't say that it wasn't a very lofty move. But anyway, we're up about almost 4%. So let's talk about how the company did. Their Q2 revenue rose substantially year over year, about 53%, guys. They were able to generate more revenue on a year over year basis. So they took home about $658 million. Last year on the quarter, they took home $430. So that was in the private market. Now they're in the public market. But it really didn't change why they were growing. They're growing as a result of the stable coin expansion. And they have a vested interest in that. We'll talk about that in a second. USDC supply jumped 90% year over year. Now it's got a market cap of $61.3 billion in USDC. That is the stablecoin issued by Circle, but that remains, a small part of the stablecoin market, as most of it is still dominated by Tether. 67% of the USD or the US dollar stablecoin market is by USDT, not USDC. About 26% or so is USDC. So that's where Circle comes in to shine in those areas. Now, they did continue to lose money. We see this a lot with growth companies, especially the ones that are growing. They lost about $482.1 million. That was a net loss. If you're looking at it on a per share basis, about $4.48 per share. But they did lose last year as well, but they lost a lot more money this year, about $32.9 million from a year ago. The loss does, though, include a one-time $424 million stock-based compensation, as well as $167 million debt fair value adjustment tied to the IPO. So you hope, at least if you're an investor, these are one-off line items that won't recur quarter over quarter. So if you're looking for profitability, maybe to start sooner rather than later, these one-line items maybe kind of give you that idea. The forecast for their outlook, Joey, also decent. They're forecasting $75 to $85 million in other revenue to be generated by the remainder of the year. But they're also they're also projecting a wider operating expense. They're talking about $475 to $490 million now in operating expense costs, which is a little bit higher than what they were talking about last time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about this before, Sharif. USDT isn't even based out of the States. I think that will give USDC kind of a leverage and the go-ahead from obviously the American government. Yes. But also from a stablecoin standpoint, we have $33 trillion already settled on the chain. And I think this is what is really important to note. I think one of the largest facts, Sharif, here is 152 billion of that is already in U.S. Treasuries. So that is massive for stable coins. And then we have also 253 billion in outstanding supply. But from a buyer to buyer standpoint, in a year over year, we're up 30 times what we experienced in 2023 to 2025. So the adoption of these stable coins is continuously growing. And there's obviously massive benefits for institutions to use stablecoins. Why? Because you're going to save a ridiculous amount of money on transactions. It's easier to send money across overseas. Obviously, domestically, not necessarily, because it's significantly easier. But when you start getting into other countries, it makes it significantly easier to transport large amounts of money and not have to pay and wait for that transaction to go through.
And I have to agree with everything you said, but I just want to qualify one thing. Yeah. So the Stablecoin Act, it did bring Tether under U.S. regulatory umbrella. Okay, so even though they were, I think they were in the Bahamas?
Yeah, U.S. Virgin Islands. And then it moved to El Salvador.
So now, my understanding was they stayed away from the continental U.S. because they didn't want to be subject to your friend Gary Gensler his SEC. But now that your friend Donald is in and he's got that stablecoin legislation, which gives him the regulatory framework to fall back upon, USDT is now actually governed by U.S. regulation. So that's good.
Yeah, it's still good. Yeah.
And then I also have to agree with you so much in when companies, when they're repatriating money that they've made overseas and they want to bring it back to the U.S., every time they bring it back, if that currency has devalued against the U.S. dollar, guess what they're getting smacked with? Boom. Boom, Forex headwind. Forex headwind. So this hopefully will kind of help alleviate some of that.
Yeah, exactly. It just leaves a base currency. And for me, I think it's the transaction fees. Wall Street's going to love that. A lot of these large corporations are going to, because it's expensive to move money around the world. And this makes it significantly cheaper.
Well said. Adara.
I really enjoyed your Forex headwind sound effect there, Sharif, I'm not going to lie. I want to talk about actually an infographic that I made that has to do with how these IPOs move on their first 4 earnings report. This is like recent IPOs, and again, this is not a science, but what I did was I looked at, if you can go to my screen, perfect, thank you. So ARM, Instacart, Klaviyo, Birkenstock, Reddit, and Rubrik, how I decided these of all of the IPOs in the last 2 years or so, as I was just like, which ones got a lot of hype ahead of time. A lot of these are in the tech space. So what I did was I looked at their first 4 reports and I calculated the average percentage move. So that's regardless of direction, how much on average did it actually move, regardless of up or down. Then the average stock move, the red bar, is actually, when you include the direction, how much did it move on average. So what's worth noting is these average percentage moves are greater than 10% for 4 out of these 6 companies, right? So all this is to say, with these IPOs, you do expect big earnings moves.
Is that good, Ram?
On the first couple days. That's what I learned from the statistical analysis. So with that in mind, I don't know right now what percentage circle is up or down, but at least one of these 4 moves, you should expect a big move. It's also worth noting that all of these companies had at least 2 negative earnings days of their first 4 earnings day ones, and 4 of the 6 companies actually had 3 of the first 4 earnings day ones reactions, they were negative. So generally, we're going to expect mostly negative reaction for some of these names as well. So just a quick statistical analysis. The other thing I wanted to mention is Circle also announced the very punnily named ARK blockchain, the layer 1 blockchain, which, you know, like the arc of a circle. I thought that was clever. That was another aspect of the report. Apparently that blockchain is going to launch this year. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. Intel meets with, or the Intel CEO, meets with Donald Trump. Lip-Bu Tan is the guy I'm talking about. So he did meet with Lip-Bu yesterday at the White House. Apparently there was Commerce Secretary Lutnick as well as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Trump called the meeting, in his words, very interesting and said Tan will work with cabinet ministers to provide recommendations next week. No more further details were given about that meeting. Intel confirmed the meeting did take place. For their part, they described it as constructive discussions with U.S. technology and manufacturing leadership at the forefront of the discussion. But we all know what happened last week. Donald Trump publicly demanded that Lip-Bu Tan immediately resign, calling him conflicted over alleged conflicts of interest tied to China. We gave you that information last week about his dealings with Cadence Design Systems, etc., and how they had to plead guilty and pay money. Quick Google search or LLM search gets you that information. The concerns really stem from Tom Cotton kind of sounding the bell last week, questioning Tan's ties to Chinese companies and his history as, again, Cadence Design CEOs. But I'll submit to you, as I gave you the information last week, I think he has investments, or he's on the board of a dozen, if not more, Chinese companies, that some of which have connections to the People's Liberation Army, the PLA. So, you know, that causes some concerns. I mean, I'm not pretend like that doesn't cause concerns. Of course it does. But we'll have to keep an eye out to see exactly how that all plays out, Joey. What's the look here on Intel?
Yeah, I mean, Intel, I think Lip-Bu needs to take a page out of Tim Cook's book. And we've seen Tim Cook in the Oval Office as well, bearing gold gifts. And I think that Lip-Bu has to fall into that realm and just start being, hey, Donald, this is what I'm going to pledge to the United States. And then sure enough, I wouldn't be surprised if Donald changed his tide on that one and said, hey, we love Lip-Bu, he's staying in office.
He's very good.
But I think that's the narrative there, Sharif. We had the likes of the hyperscalers just giving a lot of money, pledging a lot of money to obviously AI infrastructure. I think that Intel has to go down that same path and come bearing gold gifts.
Adara, what's the move here? Does he have to show up? He can't show up empty-handed. I mean, that's kind of a risk there,
I think he has to show up anyway, but you know what I just realized, and I did a quick Google to confirm this. So you know how today Donald Trump went on that, I don't know how else to call it, bizarre True Social rant about our friend
Goldman
Solomon
Sachs
calling him a DJ? It was crazy. But why I thought of this is because I remembered, eidetic memory, whatever, last week the CEOs of Citigroup and of BAC met with Trump. Now, they met with Trump about Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, but regardless, they met with him. You know who didn't meet with Trump?
Who?
David Solomon. And here's the other thing. We know last week he was going after some of these banks. Now, I don't think Jamie Dimon met with him either. He hasn't gone after Dimon yet. But I think there is potentially a correlation, and I think Lip-Bu meeting with him was the right call. Now, does he need to invest money? I think he probably will end up investing money, especially with that he will talk with my cabinet further little fun tidbit tacked on at the end of the post. I don't know. I found it interesting. I think money is coming soon.
But I got to tell you, Darren, I don't think there's lots for Donald to be happy with Lip-Bu. Let's talk about why. They got a foundry under construction. Is that correct, Adara? It's in Ohio.
Yes.
And they got a lot of money from the CHIPS Act from the previous administration. What did they do with that money? Well, they started building a plant in Ohio. Guess what, though? That plant was supposed to be done at the end of this year, early next year. You know when it's going to be done? Who the hell knows? They're saying 2030. And the reason we don't know is because they don't even want to build it because they can't find anybody to buy their products. Not the 18A, Adara. Not the 14A. What the hell are they going to sell if nobody's buying it?
I would argue, too, the other issue with the foundry is we know that was Patty G's baby. Patty Gelsinger loved the foundry business. So now that he's gone, will they have someone who's going to be able to take over the foundry business? Now, we know Lip-Bu Tan fundamentally disagreed with Pat Gelsinger's leadership. That's why he left the Intel board in August 2024, like 9 months before he was appointed as CEO, and about 5 months before Pat Gelsinger stepped down. So regardless of my conspiracy theory rant, I think the fact that Lip-Bu Tan and Pat Gelsinger seem to be on opposing sides, that could also maybe impact issues with the foundry. I don't know.
Thank you for that, Dare. What do you make of this whole foundry thing, Joey? The fact that they're pausing the build out on this whole thing because they can't find anybody to buy the product.
Well,
doesn't mean they won't find anybody. Just currently they haven't.
Currently they're not, obviously. So there's demand issues, and the space is so crowded. It is really competitive. But as for building a new foundry, what was going on with who was it? Broadcom. There was rumors about Broadcom acquiring Intel.
Yeah, there was so many. Remember Qualcomm too?
With the Qualcomm, I think it was Qualcomm. Yeah, Qualcomm was that. But it said with the exception of the fabs, they didn't want them.
They don't want them, Joey.
They didn't want them. So what would make you think that anybody would want to get involved with it now? So in my opinion, probably not the best.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that, man. And like, look, I get Lip Boo's taking over Patty G's project and he's having to deal with it. But the fact of the matter is, you know, you got to find somewhere to get revenue.
The dude's been he's been the CEO since March, right?
2 minutes.
He hasn't been here long.
Fair.
And I mentioned this as soon as he came in. This name isn't going to turn around on a dime. There's no questioning about that. It's going to take some time. Let the man do his work at least and see what is going to happen if they get any further demand or if they come out with something that's kind of groundbreaking. It's like, hey, all right, this can boost Intel, but right now they just don't have anything down the pipeline.
They don't, man. They don't have anything new. And even this new stuff, Joey, that 14A, that's supposed to be similar to the 2 nanometer of Taiwan Semi, they can't even sell that.
It's just
all right.
It's not.
All right. It's not my problem. I mean, I wish them the best, but clearly they need some help. They need some milk. All right, let's get to Elon's latest threats. He wakes up, he's in a bad mood. Who am I taking out my anger? Apple. He looks at his iPhone, I'll get Apple today. No, to be fair, he does have a complaint here. Let's talk about what it is. So he's accusing Apple of antitrust violations over App Store ranking practices that he alleges block AI competitors from reaching that #1 spot. He claims Apple's favoritism towards OpenAI, as well, obviously ChatGPT, make it impossible for anybody else to kind of like above or to rank above, or near ChatGPT, and he's complaining Grok is not competing fairly. He says XAI will take immediate legal action. Apple, for their part, did not respond to comment. So Musk on X questioned whether, neither X nor Grok appear in the Apple's must-have apps category, which is, despite being the top news app and Grok ranking 5th overall, they're still not included in the must-have apps list. That's really upsetting Elon. ChatGPT currently sits the #1 app in the free apps, and it's the only AI chatbot in Apple's must-have section. Again, that's really upsetting Elon. But we all know there's an ongoing feud between Elon Musk and Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. Elon did co-found OpenAI back in 2015 before leaving in 2018, just so you know. He is also suing OpenAI, amongst other people, and Sam Altman personally, alleging they abandoned their nonprofit mission to serve humanity broadly. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman fired back on X, accusing Musk of manipulating his own platform for personal gain. We've seen allegations like this, Joey, where it's, people allege that Grok says favorable things about Elon or Tesla or SpaceX. Whether you believe that's true, I don't happen to know personally whether that's true or not. These are allegations that are just made online.
It's funny because we know that Elon and Sam Altman, obviously, as you mentioned not too long ago, they got this feud. They're butting heads. But then he decides to also tweet as well last week saying, OpenAI is going to eat Microsoft's lunch. So which side of the table are you on, essentially? It's just like, hey, man, you don't necessarily have to pick a side. But obviously, we know with the likes of Apple, there's ways that they can monetize AI and not necessarily have the best LLM or anything along those lines that we were referring to earlier. But for me, Elon, Grok, I mean, it's good for coding. It's great for coding. Have you tried it? I haven't tried, but I heard it's phenomenal for coding.
That's what I'm hearing too.
It's one of the better LLMs for coding. But other than that, it will gain traction. Is it somewhat of a monopoly? I don't know. I don't think so. But we also have to take a look at what Google was doing with Apple, how they were paying them $20 billion a year to be their primary search engine. Money talks, Elon. You want to be in the hot spot on that app store. Start paying a little bit of money to Apple.
Before we bring in Adair, honestly, Apple didn't go to Bing and say, hey, give me 25
and
billion.
then we'll put you hotspot.
Yeah, and then I'll make you a competitor to Google. No, they just took the lump sum from Google and they made that their default search. So I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing in the LLM game, but why would the story change?
Why would it change?
You know what I mean? So I had to agree with you on that.
You want to be primary? Then pay up a little bit of cash.
Drop the money right here.
Guess what? The service revenue in Apple continues to climb higher. Sure enough, if there's striking deals, and that's what I was talking about. There's multiple ways for Apple, even though we talk about them being behind in this race, 1.5 billion iPhones on the planet, there's other ways they can monetize it and make money off of it.
Yeah. Adara, this is an interesting story here. Elon looking to sue Apple. He doesn't like the fact that they're not putting him on the most favorite list.
Yeah, I love this story. You guys, I get excited about this type of thing. I actually have an infographic on a very limited, very amusing part of Elon Musk and Sam Altman's beef. If you guys remember, this is actually when, as you mentioned, Elon Musk made that lawsuit, or that, I guess that bid, sorry, for OpenAI. This beef literally lasted like an hour. It was all on X, and this is what it did to the Tesla stock. But regardless, that's not the point. I just have this fun little backdrop. Sharif, here's my thing. I think Sam Altman calls it himself when he said, hey, Elon's being a little bit hypocritical because, you know, he is very personal with what he does on the X platform. He did actually blacklist or block that journalist Laura Kolodny from X for making her admittedly not pro-Tesla or pro-Elon, pretty biased post, but regardless, she did get blocked from X, which does kind of run the risk of having the same attitude that Musk is attacking Apple for. Right? So I think that is of note.
Well
the
said.
other thing is apparently there's a community note saying that DeepSeek actually at one point did reach #1 of all apps.
Yeah,
So
I do remember
his
that
claim isn't
briefly.
even
Yes.
I think that's the other thing is his claim is, I think that's more of an issue for the lawsuit. Like when he sues, Apple can be like, hey, there's, you know, we got receipts. But either way, I don't think this suit's going to go anywhere. This bid for OpenAI didn't go anywhere. It's just another fun little Elon blip in the long story of Elon being entertaining to us all. Also, Caroline Levitt talking right now, guys. Texas is suing Eli Lilly for bribing providers to prescribe its medications. Wow. That's coming from a statement. I don't have any other news here, but apparently, according to a statement, Texas is suing Eli Lilly, LLY, for bribing providers to prescribe its medications. If Caroline Levitt says anything of interest, I'll let you know.
There it goes.
There now it's tanking. There it is on my screen right there, Joey.
You got I got the, have that up there. I have the chart here. So double top right here on Eli Lilly. Volume hasn't stepped in just yet, but you can see that pressure kicked in a little bit. Let's see if it carries any weight to it throughout the.
Didn't they try to impeach this guy? Chat. Didn't they try to impeach this Attorney General from Texas, Ken Paxton? I feel like I remember that name, where they tried to impeach him and then he ended up winning. But just fact check me on that, guys. I'm pretty sure that this was the Paxton individual.
One thing here.
Go ahead, Joey.
One more thing. Let's go. New high of the day on ETHA.
Bang.
We love seeing that, 3404. And then also here on Tesla, speaking of Elon Musk, we love Elon a little bit today, Sharif. But there it is. Let's see if we can continue to climb. We pieced some more out at those highs, and now we've came back in towards the volume-weighted average price. I only have about 16% of the remaining position. Unfortunately, it's not going to be able to give me enough to put in any substantial numbers on the day. By the time I close it out, most likely going to be flat, Sharif.
All right, man. We're doing okay here on BBAI. It's stair-stepping up. I think we got 49s on. I think we just printed 58s or something like that. It's nothing to write home about. Just something to stair-step up as we do the news. So let's go on to the next one. This was really interesting to me here. And it kind of makes sense given the story that's going to come after this. You'll see what I mean in a second. So Donald Trump signaling his openness to downgrade NVIDIA chip sales to China, to downgraded NVIDIA chip sales to China. So what do I mean by that? So he's open to allowing NVIDIA to sell a downgraded version of its most advanced AI chip. We're talking about Blackwell, the B200 or the GB200, depending on whether they're coming in singles or pairs, reducing the performance of said chip by about 30 to 50%. He plans to meet with the NVIDIA CEO. I forget his name. What's his name? Jensen something? I'm playing. You think I actually?
No.
Jensen Huang to discuss this proposal. Blackwell, as I mentioned, is NVIDIA's high-end AI system, considered the most advanced globally, whether you believe that or not. Different story. NVIDIA and AMD recently agreed, and this is maybe why he's interested in selling a downgraded version of these chips to China. AMD and NVIDIA agreed to pay the U.S. government 15% revenue cut for China chip sales in exchange for these export licenses. I don't know, I'm not a historian, but this quid pro quo seems a little novel, maybe new. I don't know if it's ever been done. According to Donald, it's never been done before. Only I can do it. Trump initially pushed for 20%, but your friend Jensen, he worked him down to 15. I guess on Lisa's behalf too. I don't know. Why can't Lisa negotiate for herself? Strategic rationale behind this: Trump administration aims to make China dependent on its AI chips, albeit lower grade, limiting access to the more cutting-edge stuff that they reserve for themselves and their allies. Huang argues the U.S. should still sell advanced chips to prevent Huawei, as well as other Chinese firms, from dominating. Speaking of Huawei, they are really advancing, if you believe some of the reports out of China. If you don't, fine. They are developing their Ascend series AI chips as a local alternative to NVIDIA's GPUs. Currently, Huawei chips aren't yet competitive with NVIDIA's, but apparently this new 910 series, Joey, could close the gap by next year. Interesting stories, nonetheless.
Yeah, very interesting. And I mean, I heard a little talks as well too regarding the H20, but also the Blackwell, a reduced version of that they could also potentially sell to China. As Sharif mentioned before, you don't want Huawei to continuously take market share and gain ground on some of these big time chips. But at the end of the day, the MI308, I believe it is, that's in the works as well for selling to China, as long as they can apply for those permits. But at the end of the day, 20%, 15%, whatever it may be, is it even worth it? Because at the end of the day, how much are you going to sell if you're continuously upgrading your chips and you're going to give away 20% of that profit? Is it worth it? I get it in a instance where, or in the fact that we got the Gulf deals. Donald did allow sovereign nations now to open up. You got the Gulf deals. You have Saudi Arabia. You have Qatar. You have all these names. Now the H20 was back on the table, but now it comes at a cost of 15%.
Absolutely. Joey, like a little selfless promotion over here. This is a TikTok video that I made on our TikTok account. Guys, and I speak specifically here about the H20 and the MI308 and why NVIDIA is actually allowed to sell the H20 while Lisa's sitting there with her hand on her cheek waiting in her office for an export license for the MI308. What the hell, bro? How are you going to give a competitive advantage that way? I go through the reasons in the video, so you're going to have to watch it to find out. So check that out on our TikTok account. Adara, this is a really interesting story here. I mean, you have to say, with the Blackwell chip possibly in China?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you actually like how much of the conference you watched yesterday, Sharif, but it was wild that I do. Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I didn't. No, I couldn't, Adara.
Yeah, that makes sense. I knew because you were sick, right? So I want to provide context then. A lot of Trump's comments yesterday about the NVIDIA Blackwell thing were very, very either hyperbolic or completely, I guess, just kind of guessing what would happen. He said, I think Jensen will probably call me for a meeting. So Jensen himself has not requested a meeting yet on Blackwell. He thinks Jensen might call him, and he says he's okay with the Blackwell, but only if they, as you said, if they downgrade it a bit, right? And the other thing, Sharif, is that he basically dissed the H20 for like at least a good 2-3 minutes. He's like, it's not that good. I'm not going to do the voice. It's not as good. I apologize there, guys. It's not as good as their current chips. It's very bad. It's not as powerful as the other ones. So he's really, I think, it's kind of an odd look because we know he likes NVIDIA and Jensen. He wasn't dissing the company, but I think the point he was trying to make was that these chips that they were sending to China were not going to be like too advanced, which you're probably trying to make sure, hey, China, you know, guys aren't getting the best chips. But it did seem a little bit like a subliminal drive-by NVIDIA diss. I don't know the way it came off. This is all just kind of my own rhetoric from watching the presentation, but it was a very interesting conference. I will also say the other aspect of this is, of course, the fact that Financial Times is reporting that apparently Beijing is still not even letting these big tech companies even getting their hands on it.
We're going to get to that. So, yes, you're right.
It might not even, sorry, it's hard to get.
Yeah, you're good. No, mention it because it absolutely has something to do with it.
The fact that apparently Beijing is blocking these big tech firms, the report specifically named ByteDance, of course, TikTok owner, and our friend Alibaba. And so because of that, because they're worried about these H20 backdoors, right? They keep going on about the backdoors. So because of that, they're basically encouraging, hey, don't buy these H20s, especially if you're doing government work. So I think. And
Adara, they're worried they're compromised. Let's just call a spade a spade.
They are worried about that, even though NVIDIA has repeatedly said they're not. And Jensen Huang said, why would you even want an H20 for government work? Like, he's completely dismissed these. I actually think he's got a good point. But either way, I think both the U.S. and China are going to continue on their set talking points regardless, and I don't think it's going to really move the needle.
Thank you for that. Well said.
I mean, as for
Joey.
the Blackwell too, Adair, we were talking about that. He said he asked the reporter, "Do you know Blackwell?" and then proceeded to call it super duper, which is like,
super champ.
Yeah.
I can confirm that those are the words that he used.
Yeah, super. It's super duper essentially, which is,
I would go super duper. I mean, it's okay. All right, we're gonna skip ahead a couple of things. We'll get back to them, but we do have a very special guest. So we have to talk about Ford here. So let me just read the story, and then we'll chime in. Okay. So Ford's betting $2 billion of its dollars on an affordable EV, and I think this might open up the race here for who gets to first with an affordable EV, Ford or Tesla. I'm still going to go Tesla, but let's talk about the story. So Ford, Randy, is investing $2 billion into their Louisville, Kentucky assembly plant to produce what they're calling a low-cost EV. It's part of a broader $5 billion plan, including $3 billion for a Michigan battery assembly park. The combined projects, according to Ford, are going to create about 4,000 jobs, though the Louisville plant will employ about 600 fewer workers post retooling. So this is the new, the Universal EV program. They're unveiling it. It's focused apparently on affordable EVs, starting with a mid-size 4-door electric pickup. Oh, baby. Production is slated, Randy, for 2027 at the Louisville plant. The starting price, we've heard this price before, where? Oh, the Model 2. It's going to be about $30,000. Inflation-adjusted equivalent for Ford's Model T. Why did they need to do that to compare it to the Model T? Get out of here with that. They will use U.S.-assembled, Randy, lithium iron phosphate. We know these are LFP batteries, avoiding Chinese imports. And the CEO, Jim Farley, he frames the move as a response to global EV competition from BYD startups and the tech giants. We're just going to go to Randy for the first segment. Randy, give us your take on what this what the look is here.
Well, can I ask something first?
Yeah, absolutely.
As for Randy, so they're coming out with this new 4-door. What's going on with the Lightning? Is this not hot, or is that just like different from the F-150 Lightning? Or
this is an all new, not a model. It's a new platform. So what Jim said yesterday, this is going to start with a mid-size, maybe a Maverick-sized, small electric quad cab short box pickup. Okay. But it's a platform, and it should be. They can build on top of that a 2-door pickup.
Exactly.
They could build a small van, a cargo van. Okay. They could build a small electric SUV.
Tell people what platform. That's just like chassis.
That's the chassis.
It's
EVs.
Call it, let's go back to the Volkswagen EV days.
Yeah.
The skateboard chassis.
Got it.
And on top of that, you put your body panels. And so they share a drivetrain, a wheelbase, the modular components, the batteries that you can use to drive, again, a van, a quad cab pickup, a 2-door pickup. Whatever. So a Maverick-ish platform base. Okay. So it's a platform, not a singular model. The Model T reference, Ford's got their history, their legacy, their pedigree. Okay, Jim, play it up. But the $30,000 price for the base model is what I think the headline, they're asking us to read between the lines here. Yes, LFP batteries. Yes, made in the States under CATL license. There's still licensing fees there, but they will be made in the States, so they're avoiding the import tariffs. If they can get this done, do it right, do it without a whole lot of recalls. Hello, Jim. We'll have that conversation again one day. If they can do it without the recalls and do it cost effectively while there's still profit on the table, again, this landscape could change. No EV credits supplied.
No.
This becomes an affordable for inner city urban couriers and contractors and so forth. Ford's known for their trucks.
Absolutely.
Joe, going back to your question, the Lightning is a singular one-off platform. It's a light-duty, full-size electric. There's no heavy-duty. There's no van. There's no full-size van. There's no cube van. It's a singular, as was the Mach-E. This is Ford's first electric platform.
So what I'm getting at here is, if there's no real demand for this Lightning, even disregarding the price of this new one, what makes, other than, we have the Cybertruck obviously as well too, what makes you think that people would want to buy this cheaper pickup truck, this one that
if you look back in the last 5 years at Colorado, Canyon, Maverick, Ranger, and Tacoma sales, mid-size to small-size pickups are on the rise. So much so that Stellantis wants to bring back the newest version of their midsize. It won't be called not the Durango. I forget what it was called, but they're going to bring back a midsize pickup as well. Midsize pickups are on the rise. Sales are strong. So there's a potential profit here. Again, Maverick sales are strong. They're all over the road. If they can put an electric platform, not model, platform on the road and sell vans and pickups and whatever else they want to make on top of that, maybe it's a new electric SUV of some sort. This is Ford's first electric platform. So this is kind of big news. It's not a singular F-150 model. It's not a singular Mach-E model. It's a platform.
We're not even talking apples to apples, though, when we're comparing F-150 to this $30,000 thing. The F-150 on this side of the border is 100 plus, correct?
100 plus. The Lightning is well over 100K.
Yeah, we're not even
well over 100K.
We're not even.
Where's mine?
Yeah, fair enough, right?
Yeah. So,
but what I was essentially getting at is that we know that obviously Elon's sales are dropping across the board, right?
Right.
You see, there's a lot of inventory. Obviously, the F1 Lightning is extremely expensive. I get the fact that it's a smaller vehicle, but it just doesn't seem that there's so much demand for these electric trucks.
Look, I'm going to let Randy answer for himself, but I think it's a price thing. As you drop the prices, more demand. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, Randy.
So it's a price thing. As I said, the headline that caught my eye was the $30,000 price, and the fact that every component of it is made in the States. If they can do it profitably and do it without, again, a bazillion recalls and get this platform out the door, and then down the road, let's say 9 months to a year from now, roll out an SUV, roll out a transit van, the Ford Transit City, on an electric platform. Okay, now you've got couriers and mail drivers and everybody else who can jump on this platform cost effectively. You're not buying a $120,000 Lightning, $100,000 Cybertruck. You're buying an inner city vehicle. It might only have 250 miles of range. Don't get excited.
Fine.
Notice they didn't announce the range yesterday.
The only issue, though, with these pickups, Randy, my experience with the F-150 has been when you load it, the range goes out the crap.
Absolutely.
And so I'm assuming that this is going to be a problem as well, because if you're going to make this loadable in a Maverick and a work car or
you're not going to put a whole lot of payload in the back of a Maverick today anyway.
Fair,
And it's same with these, again, inner city urban delivery vehicles, light load. These aren't heavy haul tow vehicles. They're not.
Yeah, like you're not towing.
This is not an F-350 dually. It's not. You're not towing a trailer full of horses with this thing. But I think it's a good move. Can they pull it off?
I'll put this to you. Who gets the 30,000 variant EV variant first? Even though they're not the same, we're expecting a sedan from Tesla. Ford or Tesla? Who gets it out the door first, Randy?
Given Elon's past pedigree and past history, I'm not, again, guys, I'm not a Ford fan.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm going to give the nod to Ford.
You're going to give the nod to Ford.
They've also announced a new assembly process called an assembly tree. It's not an assembly line.
Okay.
It's an assembly. So they're trying to make these cars more efficiently with less people, less robots, less time.
Very good.
Smaller part of that Louisville plant. So if they look it up, it's called an assembly tree. So the parts come from all directions on branches to this central trunk where they actually apply the parts to the vehicle and they drive away with it.
That's fantastic.
So again, are you going to get FSD? No.
No. But they could get it licensed. We know that Tesla is looking at licensing FSD as a new source of income. So you don't know.
You never know. They could license it out, but I think it's got potential. Let's see what Jim can do.
All right. So Randy says Ford gets the nod on the 30. You echo that sentiment?
Yeah, before the 2 comes out.
Before the 2
you can hold me to
so
that.
you say Ford gets that $30,000 vehicle, even though they're not the same. Let's see. I'm going to say Tesla. That's just my opinion. Adira.
Well, he's supposed to start full production late 20.
Apparently, they're already being produced, Joey. Okay, apparently, according on the last call.
I'm curious some margins on this $30,000 vehicle.
And that's what I was going to get to. They're losing $35,000 on the Mach-E per car.
So what are they going to lose on this? It's going to need another bailout?
Adara, give us your opinion here on some of this, Adara, with this $2 billion bet on these affordable EVs. What's your look here?
I'm not a car person. I'm going to be honest. I don't know much about this. I will say that the stock moved down when it was announced, which shows that people certainly don't want these EVs. And I think that if you're someone who likes the whole buy American, tough Ford look, I don't know if you're necessarily going to be the type of person who would buy an EV anyway. Now, there has been some crossover, but I just think that they honestly may risk alienating their core base if they go too into the EVs. Now, they could get new customers who like the EVs, but that's my opinion. I wish I had more to say here, but I'm very excited for the Big Bear AI talk, so I'm a little too excited for that.
All right, well, that's next, Adara. Yeah, you knew that because you got the notes. Like, I was like, how does she know that? All right, here we go. Big Bear, which I'm involved with right now. We're doing quite well on it as it just got into about 65, wetting the beak there. Look, this was a bit of a miss here, Joey, but the stock is rebounding a little bit. Let's talk about it. Q2 revenue, $32.5 million, which missed the estimate by a substantial sum, relatively speaking. The street was looking for 40 and 2/3 million. They missed by printing 32.5. It's also a year-over-year, decline on the quarter. Last year, they printed about $40 million shy to 20 million there. So they miss year over year. The loss per share was even wider than analysts had anticipating, 71 pennies loss per share. The street was looking for 6 penny loss. Analysts had a low coverage, meaning that only 3 different analysts interviewed by FactSet actually covered the stock. So we don't really know a very clear picture of what the consensus estimate is, only because there's 3 samples there with 3 analysts, but that's neither here nor there. They did also slash their guidance. Their new revenue guidance for 2025 is going to be between $125 million to $140 million in revenue. That's way down from the May forecast, which wasn't that long ago, of 160 to 180. Significant cut here really reflects the uncertainty in what the company's saying. Federal contract timelines. They don't know when some of these contracts that they have with the federal government may materialize and when they may realize on the revenue that comes with that. With the CEO, Kevin McAleenan, I don't know how to say that, cited U.S. government efficiency drive as the reason for the guidance reduction. So looking to shore up costs. We know about DOGE, obviously. Potential upside here is from Trump's tax spending bill, including $170 billion to the Homeland Security and $150 billion to defense for disruptive defense tech, which Big Bear AI works in. Speaking of what they work in, if you don't know what this company does, here's a little 411 on it. They were a SPAC they merged with a SPAC back in 2021 to de-SPAC. They specialize in AI software for defense, federal agencies, as well as private sector clients. Sounds like a Palantir. Despite heavy losses, the stock was up, Joey, 60% year to date, and still about 400% off those 2023 lows. Not bad.
BBAI?
Yeah, go to 2023,
No way.
copy that, go to the weekly so it's easier, I guess, like to even look at that. Of course.
Hey, so
what else is new?
You know how that one's gonna work out there. That's all right. I was gonna pull it up on a daily to see what we got going on here, Sharif, with BBAI. Continuing to climb higher here on the day. We are short the Qs as well. You've just seen a massive dump in IBIT as well, guys, so keep an eye out for that. But here you go. You get this sell-off on that earnings report, down 35%, and then now you're somewhat getting a rebound. But if you zoom out, Sharif was mentioning before, we don't want to go to the weekly again, but that's a nice return from those 2023 lows, considering the price of the stock. But you want to go to these April lows where the rest of the market was continuously selling off. So that April 7 point to where we're currently trading at, you're up 117%. But it's pretty tough to navigate from a technical standpoint, Sharif, because from late last year, you get a move all the way up to $10, and then you retrace the majority of that move, losing 76% of its value from that peak to that trough, those April lows. But you do get somewhat of a rebound. But in order for it to climb to where it's those previous highs, it's still going to need at least 100% return in order to do so, at least.
I know you were pumped about this one, Adara. Let's hear it. What do you got on Big Bear?
I have a lot of thoughts here, Sharif. Are you familiar with the CEO, Kevin McAleenan? I'm probably
I couldn't even say his name.
Too, because I did a little deep dive, and I found some really interesting stuff. Did you know that he was part of the Trump administration the first time around?
I did not. He was Trump 1.0?
So, yeah, he was. So this is really interesting. And guess what? He actually has a good relationship with Trump because he left of his own accord. Apparently, the White House actually begged to get him back, and he said no because he wanted to spend time with family. But yeah, and he was pretty high up, too. He actually served as the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection for over a year, and then he was actually acting Secretary of Homeland Security. That's right, he was part of the cabinet on an acting basis for another 5 months before he stepped down. So the fact that he has these connections to the Trump administration, I think could be interesting. That being said, he's only been with the company about 6-7 months. He was appointed in January 25. Still pretty new to Big Bear itself. Right now, I will say as well, the fact that he's a little bit, snippy at the government right now, maybe not a great look, especially when you already have these Trump ties you could just connect to. But I think the government ties are not a bad look for BAI, especially with, I guess, how deep this goes. I didn't realize he was actually an acting member of the cabinet in the first term. So yeah, interesting stuff here for Kevin Michalinen. We'll have to wait and see if these connections actually result in anything for the company. These earnings are gross. The report was bad. I can't really mince words with there. Unfortunately, you call your company Big Bear. The Big Bears come running into this one, at least after the bell. But yeah, I think, maybe if Kevin can find a way to fix things. He hasn't really been CEO for that long. There's still time. But yeah, I think these connections I found very fascinating and something to look into.
But don't you think those connections, I think you kind of mentioned it there. They aid his connect.
If he taps into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he has.
I would have to echo your sentiment. I think that there should definitely be legislation, if there isn't already, about how you can procure government contracts up to a certain time outside of your role in government. We already know that applies, Adara, to the lobbyists, but it doesn't necessarily apply to maybe public company CEOs, where this guy is. So I totally see your point on that. I mean, it stinks, obviously, but most business stinks anyway. So good point. Thank you.
I want to say one more thing quickly as well. So apparently, I'm just going to move the button so I can scroll with my other hand. So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt actually did say that these chip deals that were made for AMD and NVDA to be able to send these chips could potentially expand to other businesses. So basically, once again, the White House is open to deal making. It's not that new, but I think it is worth noting.
Of course. Shout out, thank you, Dara, for that. Always giving us a great information there. Katina, man, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at your friend Big Bear over there, but it's been a nice one since you mentioned it, my friend. That we just took 30 pennies there, Katina, man, on Big Bear. So shout out to the Katina, man, for pointing that one out. Big Bear frickin' AI into the day's high, 569er, and we'll take out the last little remaining amount there. So we are without a position. We are all done that trade. Good look for Big Bear AI. Let's move on, Joey, to that next one from Big Bear. We go on to On Holdings, and I don't know. I looked at it in the pre-market. This one was flying. Where's it at right now? 8.5%, not a bad look for the Swiss shoe athletic sportswear maker. So francs, so CHF stands for Swiss franc, which is obviously a little bit more valuable than the dollar. So they printed revenue of 749 million Swiss francs, a little bit shy of $1 billion, $922 million in revenue, which was up 32% year over year, and also beat the expectations of 705 million Swiss francs. Their wholesale revenue, which means that the shoes that they sell to, Dick's Sporting Goods, Foot Locker, other retail outlets, that's what they mean by wholesale. Printed very good there, 441 million Swiss francs, beating the expectations and increasing year over year, where they printed 429 million last year. Their direct-to-consumer route also growing, and we haven't seen that with some other companies. For example, Nike, whose DTC is dropping at the expense of their wholesale. Recall that strategy shift by Nike. Not so here for On, who continues to grow their direct-to-consumer sales, albeit smaller than their wholesale. $308 million in revenue, Swiss francs in revenue, which is about $380 million. They also increased year over year. 279 million Swiss francs was what they printed last year. The guide also beating expectations. Their new full year sales guidance, 2.91 billion Swiss francs, about $3.6 billion, up from the 2.86 they guided prior. Their gross margin guidance here. Joey, they got a physical product here. They're printing 61% gross margins. What the bad word? Yeah. I mean, that's that. Who do they think they're on? NVIDIA? So that's very high gross margins for a physical product. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. They said they may face a bit of a tariff impact. And if you're wondering about the 39% Swiss tariffs on imports from Switzerland, save and except for gold, you needn't worry about it with this company, because 90% of their products are sourced from Vietnam. New U.S. tariffs prompted July 1st price hikes, but lower on Vietnam than it is on Switzerland. The price increases targeted lifestyle products more heavily than did their running shoes. So good luck, because they sell a lot more running shoes. The CEO reports no slowdown in demand from consumers or wholesale partners, so people keep buying these things. And with the amount of people I'm seeing wearing these things outside, there's a lot. Here's the last point here, Joey, how they did by region. Sales in America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. I don't know why they group Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Those are three completely different areas, and they have nothing to do with each other. All beat expectations, according to the company. China sales surged 50% year over year on the quarter, and the two strongest consumers, the company say, Joey, the U.S. and the Chinese consumer, the strongest.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is kind of the example that we're seeing with some of these retail names, Sharif. We talked about Under Armour last week, and just you've seen across the company, steady decline, losing popularity, On being one of the more popular names, and also with advertising. You go onto your social medias, you're seeing some of these shoes everywhere. It wasn't in the likes of Under Armour, cooling off on that front. But as for On, what's the ticker for this?
ON.
I thought so. Oh, yeah. On. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I have it there.
As always.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. So, yeah, just speaking of this, at the end of the day, it's a tough space, right? Because one day you're the hottest fashion, the next day you could be no one wants to buy you anymore. We talked about it in the likes of Under Armour as well, too. All athletes used to wear Under Armour. I'm pretty sure Steph Curry used to have a deal with them as well, too. He still does.
Yeah.
But it's a rotating door. It's a continuous rotating door on what we're experiencing. And from those previous all-time highs, we're trading around 22%, but you are still seeing some steady growth here on this side of the pond, that's for sure.
Any light you can shed on this trade, Adara? ON, looking good here, 8% and plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting look there for ON. I don't have too much to say on this, but I do think the fact that if you look at the daily charts, it's doing better than UAA, the Under Armour. It's doing better than Nike. I think it's probably doing better than Lulu. So when you compare it to the competitors, the stock's doing pretty well, even though, as Joe mentioned, it is a little bit off highs. I want to mention, too, I was not prepared for that foreign exchange fluctuation to actually be a bit of a headwind. That was an interesting note that I saw there. I don't know how it's going to shape up. Good report, decent reaction. I wish I had more to say here. But yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting look.
They would have benefited from stablecoin adoption, would they, Derek? Because they wouldn't have got smacked with that Forex headwind.
Maybe you'll see a circle pair up for this one next time. Who knows?
Love it. Thank you, Adair, for that. Yeah, I did. Is that so surprising? I don't hate your trades. I like all your trades. Unlike you, I actually like your trades.
No, man.
This guy's always crapping on my trades.
No, I'm not, man. At all, brother.
Nah, I just gave this guy a hard time this morning. So you're seeing the continuation of something that happened off camera. I'm just busting your chops, bro. Give me a break, bro.
And I'm busting your chops, too. Because at the end of the day, you're the reason why I'm in this trade.
All right, man. All right. We're getting to it. I swear we're going to get to it. We're going to talk some ETH. Let's talk some ESPN and Fox. They're apparently launching a sports streaming bundle. Oh, baby. So Disney's, ESPN, and Fox Corp will bundle their upcoming direct-to-consumer streaming services starting October 2nd, and it's going to run you boys $39.99 a month. That's $40 US. Sorry, Canada. Standalone prices are going to be ESPN app alone. You're going to have to ante up $30, $29.99. And if you want the Fox One app on its own, it's going to be $19.99. So obviously does save to pair them together. Goes without saying. And the launch timing targets obviously the sports season kickoff with, football around the corner, likewise with hockey and basketball. Both apps will debut August 21st ahead of college football and the NFL. Let's talk a little bit more about this because there's more details here. So ESPN streaming details. We'll get to the Fox one in a second. Let's talk a little ESPN. It's going to be an all-in-one sports app with live games from ESPN, ESPN2, SEC Network, and ESPN on ABC. So you're going to get from all four of those channels. It's going to include fantasy sports. It's going to include betting features, studio shows, documentaries, the gauntlet. And it can also be bundled, since it's a Disney product, you can bundle it with Disney Plus and Hulu for about $36 a month, $35.99. You're also going to get a promo earlier for the $29.99 for the first year. So it might be a little savings there. Now we know that they recently secured WWE rights starting next year in 2026. And they also struck a deal with the NFL network, and the NFL in general is investing 10%, I believe, in ESPN. So NFL as an organization is taking an ownership interest in the network. I don't want to say it's a security blanket or anything like that, but it does feel good when the league themselves invests in the channel. Now, with respect to Fox One app, it's going to include news, entertainment, sports from Fox broadcast, as well as their pay TV networks. This marks Fox's full entry into the direct-to-consumer streaming after shelving the planned Venue joint venture with Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery, Joey. So, you know, we have a different bundle up in this neck of the woods because we got different carriers and stuff up here. So probably this doesn't really focus on us, but this is not bad, eh?
No, it's not bad. But we know that these NBA deals are really expensive.
Very good point.
Very, 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 very expensive. And we've seen that chew up into the report here anyways.
Okay.
But Sharif, we got something to take care of, my friend.
Go ahead.
New traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fee.
Trade the pool.
Are we sure here? That's not what I have here. All right.
Yeah, trade the pool. Yeah, because we missed it, Joey.
All right, there another one started over again. You've seen Trade the Pool here with us for a while now, and now Trade the Pool has created something special just for you. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and what setups they rely on, so you can learn and grow from what actually works. Download it now by scanning the QR code on screen or hitting the link in the description. But yeah, Sharif, as for some of these deals here, we're seeing Paramount and the UFC starting to strike deals as well too. So you'll see all these UFC pay-per-views on Paramount Plus. I think that's just the way everything seems to be go. What sports deals can you strike, and how much are they going to cost you at the end of the day?
That's the one. I think like Netflix is also. We were kind of really bigging up Netflix because they keep getting
in the big fights.
Exactly.
Right.
Adara, what's the look over here? Any more color you can add? I know you were following obviously very closely the Paramount deal as well. Any overlaps here?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Okay.
The fact that these companies are very aware they have to kind of stay in the good books of the administration to make these deals, I think that's clear. I don't have too much to say on this because I do have some other news I want to discuss.
Fair.
Keep an eye here on Alt 5 Sigma Corporation. So Eric Trump just posted on X, that's one of Donald Trump's sons, he just posted on X that he's joining the board of Alt 5 Sigma. The stock moved. This is not news, guys. This came out yesterday, and it was on our watch list yesterday, so be aware. Nice push higher, but this is, I guess, being treated like breaking news. He actually said breaking in his post, but it is actually news we already knew. And I will call out Eric Trump for this because we already knew this stuff. So I want to say that this Alt 5 news that he literally put breaking : in his post is news we knew. I do want to mention as well, though, with regards to the ESPN Fox, I mean, I think the idea of consolidating services is great as a consumer. Who wants to have like 50 subscriptions? What's the point? Just consolidate your subscription. So I actually really like that as a model. I don't know what it'll do for Disney. Disney has its hands in like all the pies. Sorry, Joe, for the pie mention. But Disney's got a lot going on business-wise, right? So I don't know what's going to impact Disney. I'm pressing the button. I don't know how it's going to impact Disney like in the immediate term, but I think it's probably a good look for consumers. Yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you, Adara.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we've seen, add to Adara's point, we've seen Disney starting to take market share from some of the other big competitors as well, too. That was a sector that they struggled in for a long time, and they weren't overly profitable. They weren't profitable, but then they started to turn the tide. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And we got to give big Bobby Iger some credit over there.
Yeah, absolutely. The proxy fight with Nelson Peltz.
There you go.
That didn't go as planned. Obviously, Nelson liquidating all of his positioning. So.
All right, let's go on to the next story. AMC, you know, I want to say like a late pandemic favorite, meme craze favorite. It popped. Where's it at right now? Show yourself, AMC. Where are we at? We're still up on the day, I believe. 1%, 0.99. So here's what they did. Revenue was about $1.4 billion, up 35% year over year, and beating the 1.35 expected by the street, so top line beat there. The net loss also narrowed. They lost about almost $33 million on the quarter last year. This time, they shorted down to about $4.7 million, so definitely shoring up costs. Adjusted EPS was break even versus a negative 8 penny print, so a top and bottom line beat right there. Not bad. Their movie attendance rose 26% year over year. Consolidated admissions revenue per patron. So just look at it as admissions revenue per patron. That was $12. But the revenue per patron, because you don't just go buy a movie ticket, you got to buy some popcorn, a drink, maybe some chocolate, whatever you guys are smashing at the movies. $22.25, 26 cents, which was a record high.
Wow.
That was the average, revenue per person when you came into the movie theater there. Their debt management as well continues to improve. They said all their 2026 debt maturities have been kicked back 3 years to 2029, so they push that back, remove it off the balance sheet for now, strengthening, at least in the short term, their financial footing. And CEO Adam Aaron sees momentum continuing, Joey, into the fourth quarter of this year, as well as deep into 2026. I personally haven't been to the movies quite yet this year, but that doesn't mean that I'm not seeing a lot more people. I'm starting to feel like this is picking up again. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I think it's so heavily dependent on the pipeline of movies that are coming out, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, we're seeing this increase, but what has came out that is like, hey, the viewers need to go and see this? Is it the Jurassic Park movie, the Superman, whatever it may be? I just think it's too heavily reliant on what's going on in actual Hollywood in order for this name to continue. It's a meme stock. It is what it is. In my opinion, there's other ways that you can watch movies at the theater, and people are taking advantage of them, even though it doesn't necessarily affect in some of those numbers.
Do you kind of, before I get Darren, do you see, somewhere in the near future, not distant future, near future, that we get back, into the heyday of the movie theaters? Or do you think that's fundamentally changed with people who have 100-inch screens in their home with surround sound and they can black out their room? They don't really need to schlep over to the movies.
I think they have to come out with something new and exciting, right? You know how they have the motion chairs, you go and sit into that, you have the 3D epics, right? But it also depends on what movies are coming out as well, too, right? So if you have a stretch of just solid, it's like, okay, come new James Bond, new this, new that, and there are all these Top Gun Maverick, you have these solid movies coming out, then sure, by all means, you can kind of get in, fall back into it. But will it ever be as popular as it was before? I don't know, because like I just mentioned, you have access to all of these movies via other ways, and you don't have to go and spend $100 at the movies like you do here.
Yeah, dude, like we're talking about the average ticket, $22.25 a person. Right. You take 4 people, just a family of 4, that's
it's exactly right, and the popcorn's $20. You get in the drinks, the candy, and it adds up. I think people will find cheaper alternatives, considering that the consumer is also slowing down as well, too.
Well said. Adara, you obviously are very into movies, and you write as well. I'm kind of outing you there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
What's your look over here? Do you kind of feel the movie business starting to pick up again? What's your take?
I think it is picking up a bit. I do think, as a screenwriter, I don't want the film industry to die. Like, hey, don't do that. But I think the thing is, I don't think the lack of theaters has to mean the industry dies. Not at all. I think that, especially right after COVID, there were all those ads like, oh, you have to see this movie in the theater. Come see my movie in the theater, or you're disappointing cinema. I don't think that's true at all. I think that filmmakers are getting a lot more opportunities with Netflix, all the streamers, mostly Netflix, et cetera, right? Now, that being said, I do think that it's a good thing to keep the movie industry alive, but I do think the prices are crazy, and I think it's actually remarkable that they had some record quarters with that average, or I'll say ARPU for lack of a better term, even though I know it's a slightly different company to use the term ARPU. Average revenue per user is really good despite this inflation. Let's see if it stays that way, though, because I fully agree with what Joe said about the climate around film.
It was an all-time high for the Madeira.
Right? That's crazy.
That's what they're saying.
Absolutely crazy. But can they sustain that once the movie culture gets a little ickier? Because here's the thing. There's a summer, and I know this because I study this stuff. You got the summer blockbuster, right? That's the best season. Yeah. And then you have all of the Oscar bait films that come like later in the year that I care about, but your average AMC film goer might not necessarily care about. No. Furthermore, with regards to cheaper alternatives, I don't think that just means watching movies at home either. I do think that AMC could face competition from other theaters. Like, I recently saw 2 movies in a day because I went to an alternative theater, $8 a ticket. See 2 movies for $16. That is literally 2 movies for way less than the price of one average ticket at AMC. Pardon?
pricing pressure could
Right,
be,
that's what I'm saying. So
that could be a
I wanted to
headwind.
mention that
Good
as well.
call.
The
Yeah,
Tuesday
alternative
deals,
theaters,
right?
sorry for talking over you there. I think alternative theaters could add a bit of spice to the proceedings as well.
Yeah, I have Joey also bringing the point.
The Tuesday deals, right? So you get the back in the day you used to get the 2 tickets for $10,
go.
as Adara just mentioned. But as for competitiveness, you also have Cineplex as well too. So
Yeah, I know.
And
I don't know
I
what
think
you have.
Cineplex is more popular here north of the border
certainly.
than AMC is.
I don't even know. Do we have any AMCs around
Well,
here
there
anymore? 'Cause
was.
there used to be.
There was years ago.
Yeah,
so
there was,
remember
yeah.
from across the highway from Colossus, there was a massive AMC theater
Absolutely.
there. But that is
Time with
not
the Gardner, right?
No, at Jane and 7.
Oh,
Jane
yeah,
and Highway 7, right? You know where I'm
Absolutely,
talking. Jane and Highway 7.
Yeah.
So you had the Colossus over there, which is Cineplex, and then you had the AMC theater on the other side of the highway, and that was obviously demolished. So I think Cineplex is more popular here. I don't see any AMC theaters anymore.
I don't see any here either. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, let's go on to the next one here. Palantir expands their partnership with Sompo in Japan. So what's the deal here? They announced a multi-year extension of their already existing partnership with Sompo Holdings via a joint venture. It's going to be called Palantir Technologies Japan KK. That's the name of the joint venture. Sompo has already been using Palantir's foundry since back in 2020 across their care facilities in Japan to support elderly care, to report to government, and to address urgent patient needs. So they're using it in a multifaceted way. Sompo Japan is now using the foundry to fully revamp its claims process, from fraud detection and claims triage to ongoing monitoring. So they're expanding the use of their AIP, which is the foundry process. Foundry is embedded, the company says, across all key decision points, enabling more efficient claims management. And we all know what the AI agents craze is. AI agents in Foundry help underwriters, evaluate the risk and make recommendations during the whole underwriting process. These optimizations are supposed to deliver about $10 million in annual financial improvements. $10 million here, $10 million there. All of a sudden, you've got an entirely new revenue stream on your hands, Joey Options. So another good commercial deal for Palantir, and that's what you want to see more of.
Well, this is remember when we were talking about the report and we seen the international growth was slightly subdued around 3 to 5% roughly,
Yes, sir.
right? But this is what I was talking about expanding. Now you're striking some deals with Japan. You're starting to grow that as well. And I mentioned that I think that they're going to need to broaden their client base in order to sustain the growth cycle that they've been experiencing. And that's what we're seeing right now with Palantir and striking deals with Japan.
It kind of feels that way, absolutely.
Right?
And
That's what I was referring to.
And we saw the concentration of most of the revenue was U.S., as you mentioned.
Strategically.
And it's fair, right? Because a lot of it's sensitive, so you want to keep that, local.
Exactly.
And so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. We'll let Derek get back, and we're going to talk about C Limited. They posted good results. Let's see where they're at. Are they up still bigly? Very bigly. 19.5% on the back of this report, Assassino, where their GAAP revenue surged 38%. More, 38.2% year over year to $5.3 billion, up from the $3.8 they printed last year. An easy beat there. E-commerce revenue climbed 33.6%, up to $3.3 billion, driven here by GMV, which stands for gross merchandise volume, a metric often used by these type of companies. Their digital finance services revenue surged 70% year over year, up to $882 million, really boosted here by the credit business expansion in their company. So who knew? And their digital entertainment revenue also grew nicely, about 28.5% year over year. Not 70% or anything like that, but a healthy $560 million in revenue, fueled by higher active user base and paying user penetration. It's the first time I've heard that metric before. But hey, what do I know,
That's
Joey?
Crazy.
Their net income jumped about $414 million in take-home profit on the quarter, not from the year, on the quarter. That's up from the $80 million they took home last year, with their EPS rising to 68 pennies, up from 14 pennies last quarter. It's a beat everywhere. And their operating income also soared 488% to $487 million. on the year. Yes, that is Randy back there doing things. He's telling us to shush. I love it. So this is a blowout quarter, Joey. There's just no way two ways about it.
Dude, this is massive for SE. I remember when I used to trade earnings. This is one of the follow-through earnings day one. It was one of my biggest trades that I put on when I was at home on myself. So shout out to SE. But from those April lows, we are up 78%. 78%. That is crazy. And then let's go from this time last year as well, guys, to see what's going on. August, we'll go roughly around here. This is big time moves that we're seeing in SE. Wow, this is giving really good vibes, Sharif. I don't know how you feel about this. 225% from this point from this point last year. That's a really good look from a technical standpoint. And it just previously broke that all-time high with momentum and velocity. So that's something that's positive to look out for.
And now this thing's over $100 billion market cap. All of a sudden, you're in the big boy club now.
Exactly.
Adara, what's the look here on SE?
I don't know if she's here.
Go ahead. Oh, I think she is. Adara, you up there? Hey, what's your look on SE?
Yeah, I think it's pretty impressive, actually, with SE, but I do want to let you guys know I have a news story, Sharif, that I think you might like as well. Financial Times reporting that OpenAI and Sam Altman are backing Merge Labs. Why is this significant?
Who?
Sam Altman and OpenAI are backing Merge Labs. Now, the name doesn't matter. Why is it significant? They're a rival to Neuralink. So this is getting really intense. For people who don't know, Neuralink is an Elon Musk company, one of many Elon Musk companies. And Sam Altman and Elon Musk have had a feud for like a good long time. That feud has really accelerated in the recent 12 hours where they've just gone rat-a-tat-a-tat on X, a platform owned by Elon. It's crazy, guys. Either way, I think this is pretty interesting. Financial Times, again, reporting that OpenAI and Sam Altman, their CEO, are apparently backing a company that rivals one of Elon's.
He doesn't think about Elon that much, Adara.
I mean, I'm gonna quote Mariah Carey here. Why are you so obsessed with me? But I say it to both of them.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys are billionaires.
Let's not take any sides. I like both of them too.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're both really talented. Focus on the businesses. Stop, hanging with presidents or like having weird Twitter beefs. You don't need to do that, guys.
Thank you for that piece of news. That was the best one yet. Oh, this guy, bro, what a joke.
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on, Sam.
Man. Why are you so obsessed with me?
What do you want to know?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't have no idea. But the saga continues. I can't wait for Elon to post on X. I want to hear the vitriol. I want all the smoke this time. Let me hear what you really think, Elon. Let me hear it. Let loose on Sam. Let's go on to the next story because we don't have that much time. The big kahunas are going to come on any minute. But Beijing, this, Adara, you brought this point earlier when we were talking about the kind of the dumbed down GB200 or the B200 as sale for China. But this is what China is saying to their own companies. Chinese regulators are questioning Alibaba, ByteDance, and others over their order for the H20 NVDA chip, which is a China-specific chip. Office officials, ask why foreign chips are needed instead of their domestic alternative options. Some buyers are now downsizing these orders amid political sensitivities. The report goes on to say Beijing is actively discouraging, according to some reports, the use of the H20 chips for government or security-related projects. Notices have been sent to some of these companies advising against H20 use in what they're calling sensitive sectors. No more information other than that. There's an obvious push by the regulator there to promote Huawei and Cambrian as local alternatives. Both are gaining market share after the H20 was, momentarily restricted by Donald Trump until he got that visit from Jensen in the White House. We all know about that. Beijing claims NVIDIA's chips, Joseph, pose location tracking and remote shutdown risks, which have been obviously denied by Jensen and NVIDIA. And Trump, as we talked about earlier, said he may allow downgraded Blackwell chips to make their way over to China for export.
Yeah, because they're super duper, that's why.
Super duper.
Super duper. No, but
let's talk about this China dissuading their company.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's obviously in their best interest as well, too.
They're worried.
They want people to use their local chips and the Huawei's coming out with new ones as well, too. But at the end of the day, they just want to be obviously locally based and consume those chips and not have to rely on NVDA and AMD's chips as well.
No, and like, you look, we always question Chinese stuff. Like people were talking about Chinese EVs getting remote shut down. That's why they're not sold here. I don't think that that's the reason. But the fact of the matter is the East is, skeptical of the West, and the West is skeptical of the East, and, goes both ways. So I'm not really surprised by this.
No.
Are you surprised?
No, not at all. And I mean, there were talks about having control over those H20s on this side.
They wanted it to
happen. It's not happening, which they're claiming to be the case, but there's a chance that it can happen. So yeah, I mean, they do. Obviously, both parties have a solid case, but at the end of the day,
it is. Adira, anything you can shed some light on here with respect to the story, because you kind of brought it up earlier?
Yeah, I did bring it up earlier. I don't think I have much more to say than what I brought up earlier. Just that I think, it's very clear, as you said, the East and the West, right? The U.S. has a clear opinion. China has a clear opinion. They're not going to change their minds. And if China's skeptical about H20, imagine how they're going to feel about the Blackwell.
Exactly.
Like that makes no sense. And furthermore, I want to clarify, all of Trump's Blackwell talk is pure speculation, because as far as we know, and as far as he's told us, Jensen Huang hasn't approached him yet for the Blackwell. And I honestly don't think he will. He gets a charge time with the H20. He's finally getting those off the ground. Why is he going to bother Trump with Blackwell?
And we don't even know if Jensen can make, or wants to make, a scaled down version of the B200. This is just Donald throwing it out there.
I'm not going to lie. I think it's a non-issue with regards to the Blackwell. And so with that in mind, I don't think we have to worry about how China reacts to a Blackwell. We haven't even fully seen how they reacted to the H20. I don't want to get too ahead of myself.
All right.
One last point. I think if Jensen can make an obviously reduced version of the Blackwell, why wouldn't he try to sell it to China?
More money.
It's more money.
I'm just saying, we didn't even hear it from the company.
No, from him himself. But at the end of the day, I think that he would. Why not, right? It's more product if they're willing to absorb it. Maybe push the H20 to the side, and well, guess what? We got the dumbed down Blackwell, significantly better than the H20. Why don't you start buying this from us?
All right, Joey, I'm just going to leave them with a couple of ideas. Big Bear AI is one that we were involved in. I want to show you guys this because Big Bear is still continuing to trend up. Good recovery for Big Bear AI. It's on its way to $6. It's at $5.92 now, $5.91 high day. Great recovery and an obvious buy off the 10 EMA. That is the 10 EMA on the 5, of which it's been crazy respectful. One last one here before I send you to the big boys. ATNF, another monster one today in small cap gapper world. It's up triple digits, up 170% off the highs by about 70 pennies, 970 high. But as you can see, generally holding that 10 EMA on the 5 and trying to work back boys above that 9.25 area. So one to keep an eye on if you're into these small cap gappers. ATNF, Big Bear AI. Joey, kill him with kindness, send him off.
4 letters.
Oh God.
THA. No, in all seriousness, guys. A little bit. I'm just down. I'm down not much at all. Tesla was pretty good to us, the second entry. Again, we didn't maximize this trade, but it did work out really well and just essentially mitigated. So we'll call it a flat session at that. Continuous trend to the top side. I am a little